No!
Yay! There we go.
Tiffany, you're not my mom.
So is there not a live button
Because it could
that
really do some
turns on the camera and the microphone?
What's it gonna
at the
do?
same
Kill
time?
me?
No, there is.
No,
It's
it's
just
gonna
that
make it
because
hot.
this is set up, it's using a different input.
Mm.
So because of that,
Unless
it's
you
counting
really
this
think about
whole
it.
apparatus as a single microphone. Yeah. So
That's terrifying.
it really is. So it just like messes everything up.
Anybody in chat, tell us how the volume is. We've had to screw with some of the levels. Just want to
Indeed.
make sure that
Yeah, we
we're
had
not
to
blowing
mess
you out
with
of the
some of
water.
Can you breathe that?
How high are you right now? It looks,
No, it's hi. How are you?
Oh right, that's
Oh, Andy.
Hey,
Oh no, pass it out.
if it gets too crazy, just
I get you some real good solvents you can put in there.
Oh yeah.
No, smell real nice too.
Why did
You're
everyone
getting
get
a
quiet
headache.
when I took a bite? Like, could have had that as
Because
a cover
him
for
and
a
I
second.
are talking numbers.
Nobody heard you take a bite.
Everyone heard him. Yeah, post on
Everybody
Microsoft.
heard him.
Well, I went
We're
over
over here
here.
eating like animals. How you doing, Beeps at home? What?
Dropping it for the host. Drive by host.
Aw, I miss Rocco.
Hey, Rocco.
Well, you can talk
That was
to him.
Rocco, right?
You can talk to him in
Okay.
our sub-only Discord.
Oh, yeah.
Rocco's in there quite frequently.
Ooh, also, for everybody who doesn't know, if you have Twitch Prime, for a limited time, you can get 500 bits for the price 99 cents.
Yes.
Currently.
That is back.
That's less than a Dollar Tree.
And if you don't know, bits are worth a cent, so 500 bits is $5, and you can get that for $1. You get $5 for $1. That's a deal. If you have Twitch Prime. If you don't have Twitch Prime, don't buy it just for the bits. That's
So
dumb.
it's fine. All right, cool. So audio's good. All right. I'm
Cool.
going to put some.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys keep ketchup packets?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
All right,
some
so
barbecue.
hey everybody, I'm Soul Rose. These are my friends. Welcome to our continuing game of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Today we're continuing Arc 2 of
What?
the main campaign.
Not your heart. What?
What? What now?
I thought they were.
So,
You
what
might
a
want
quick
to-
shout out. Let's see here. Rocco the Mad, thanks so much for the host, buddy. We'll see you later. Noodle, last time we got Noodle1202 with the follow. Thanks so much for the follow.
He's
You
still
with the
missing.
200 biddies last time. Thanks, buddy.
Still have not talked about Noodle's name.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that last time.
We did not.
He's still missing.
When they pop back in, we'll give them the significance of what the noodle means and where it comes from. So, we are doing a Dungeons and Dragons related giveaway at 200 followers or 10 subs, whichever one comes first. I'll give you a hint. We are halfway to one of our goals. Actually, we're over halfway on one and halfway on the other, so
Yeah.
that gives you an insight to where that is.
Yay.
So, if that's your thing,
No
tell your
prize for
friends.
you, dog.
Throw up a sub or a follow, either way. We appreciate it. What else? The ambrosia for today is divine resilience, I believe, or divine something.
Couldn't tell you.
It's something.
I need to get more friendly with you.
Basically, for 200 biddies, you can grant a player of your
I'm just kidding.
you can grant a player of your choice a D4 or a D6 of inspiration to add to their saving throws. I believe is today. Today's saving throws.
I don't know where
I
This
did
is
it
the man
yesterday.
who made it.
I did it
An hour
yesterday. I don't
ago.
remember what.
Oh, yeah.
With that being said, I think that's everything. Anybody else got any announcements last minute? No, you? Nothing? Nothing at all? Nothing you can
My
think
tablet
of
works again.
specifically you can't think of?
Oh, I'm working on fan art, but that's not.
There you go. Alright, fan art. Anybody else? Any other last minutes?
Don't freak out if I pass out. This is still wet.
So freak out.
In case you weren't sure, he's talking about the nose.
Yeah, there you go.
Gross. Alright, so with that being said, we will jump into recaps, huh?
Yeah.
A little bit of recap. So last time our intrepid band of adventurers, well, 3 of them, had entered the dreamscape for the first time. They explored some of the surrounding forest, the area that is commonly known as the Walk, the Endless Walk, and they followed the young little Uari Kwa all the way back to his home village. After being brought to the home village, we switched over to our 2 new characters, Yana and Luca, who are going about their mundane, ordinary lives within the dreamscape. Things like farming, gathering, checking on their silk farms, doing their morning rounds of, checking the fields, and what?
What?
Did that stick to your face? That's looks fine. Boop. Very good.
What?
There was a brief bit of interaction between the two groups before ultimately deciding that they're non-hostile, non-threats, and everyone kind of came together. There was some explanations going on, some conversations. They met the village chief.
Some painting.
Naka.
Well, Naka.
I got you.
Let me pull up all my. Probably should pull up my notes. That'd be a good
And the
idea.
village of Semra.
Semra Village.
Draca's named Mino, passed out.
He's a very brave man. Let's see here.
Squealed like a chicken and then fell over like a goat.
He was faced with people
Well,
with
he-
faces
he
the
at least
first time,
attacked.
okay?
It's true.
At
He
which
made
point
it one step beyond me.
you guys
Several steps beyond.
you guys began to kind of help out with the. Since you guys were staying there, you decided to hang out and assist the local Uari. At which point, Ciliana, during the second day of their stay, was contacted by a strange individual who identified himself as Apricot.
Something small.
He explained to her that he intended to attempt to send through a scroll using her position as a guideline, though he had no idea where it was going to end up. You got no follow-up on that.
He may have already done that.
In the process, he informed you that he needed you to gather up materials and create a tuning fork, because they needed one that was created and attuned to where you're at. And then what happened there? That is where we ended. When we last ended, right at the very end, Rashid and Ciliana were attempting to gather strips of wood from a stump. You guys were carting off chunks of a stump with using one of Zongak's axes when you came across a human-teethed boar that just was very inquisitive. And at which point you guys had...
Very inquisitive.
He was. You guys had
I don't want to
distracted
see a
him.
nightmare.
You guys distracted him, and then he.
What do you? Can you hear us?
Yes, you can.
I just want to make sure.
He's
Gotta make sure.
monitoring through the monitor channel.
Monitoring. So that is where we. That is where we ended. So what do you guys want to do? We're gonna open up right there, where we left off.
I mean, I'm still.
Also, was a little bit mistaken. So I'm gonna help you make. You're looking for materials to make paper. Correct?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit mistaken. So I have new things for you to do
Oh no.
on top of it.
Should I wrote down things? Should I?
Alright.
Wait. New
Maybe
things
that's how
for
paper
my
works in this
paper?
world.
Okay. What do you want me to?
Fell on the table and
Or do I have
they're
to
on.
do a check?
You're gonna have to gather a different material because I was incorrect. The way that I was having you do it is a modern way to make paper and requires machinery to do.
Okay.
The old way to make it requires a whole different thing.
Not mushing stuff.
Correct.
What?
You are gonna need cloth still. You're gonna need
Okay.
to gather. You're gonna need to gather long stalks, like reeds, basically, from like cat o' nine tail style reeds, and from there we'll go. From
No
there.
bark?
Do you mean cattails?
Not necessarily. You need tall grass, like long strip.
Like reeds.
Cat of nine tails is a portrait.
Yeah, no, not that one.
No,
Yeah, cattails.
It's
Yeah,
starting.
but we-
Cattails are the ones that have like it looks like a hot dog on a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fuzzy.
Still not that one.
Okay.
But you find it in those areas.
So I don't need. Do I still need mushing materials?
No.
Do I need a water in a bucket?
No.
Okay. Do I need wood?
You'll need straight pieces of wood or rocks to crush it.
Okay. Wood. So cloth, plant fibers, wood, water bucket.
Mhm.
So. I mean, I'm
Most
doing
likely shells.
shells. What the fuck?
Seashells.
Okay.
By the seashore.
I mean, that's what I'm doing.
She sells them.
Going to do that stuff. Trying to gather up this
Here's the
stuff.
thing too. You can also just write on leather if you have ink.
I don't think.
Or on
Or
paper.
something hard enough.
Ooh. Yeah. So that's.
Or
what
you
I'm
could
doing.
teach her how to tattoo people so she could put
Gathering.
down all of her information on other person. That
Find
way it's
some
mobile
willing
too.
or confused people.
As they grow, you get more space.
So, what are you guys doing as you're crouched down in the grass of the walk?
Oh. I guess
What do you guys-
I'll
what
go
guys
for the plant fibers
You're
or
gonna
the
go
wood. We were doing the wood thing.
3 clockwise.
3 clockwise. Is that what you said?
3 clockwise.
Let's see what happens here.
I know where I was.
Where were you at?
I was going to go speak with the old lady that hung out outside of town for a long time.
Oh, you're
Because I wanted to talk to her about holes.
I was
and he
taking
helping
her,
me.
Kuzu?
taking him to her.
Yeah.
Was that Kusu?
I don't know if it was
Oh.
Kuzu or The paranoid one.
Niche.
Niche.
Or niche.
Niche.
She's that
Niche.
Niche.
She is a middle-aged female Yuari.
She's a survivor. She's not gonna give up.
She is a survivor. So,
give you
you lead him through the village to go do that. It is a very sparse village. It's mostly just open walking terrain. Though, due to your sort of like nature, you skip all the roadways and don't really cut across fields, so it takes a little bit longer. The little small beaten paths that you guys make with your little stamping shovels.
Have you ever had meat?
You ever had meat?
Have you ever had cucumbers? They're really cylindrical. And I can't use that word.
Dick shape.
I was trying not to say dick shape or phallic or
Like a forearm?
They
Yeah.
kind of look like green.
really long, green, and bumpy.
It just gets better.
They're really good with water.
Or water.
Put him in
It's
your
not wrong.
He's not incorrect.
He's a connoisseur
Okay.
of good waters.
Oh.
Not the freezing cold
I
kind.
was
People tell
confused.
you.
Cucumbers for a minute? Okay. So,
Well, he breathes so much of it.
after a little bit of jaunt, you approach a small house, seemingly undecorated for the most part. Like most Yuari, decoration is kind of like what you do in your free time, embroidering and decorating things. But Niche is more of a functional person over fashion or anything like that. So as you approach, you can kind of see you can see her moving around the outside of the house, kind of cleaning up for the most part. And as you approach, you can almost see those little her little ears kind of like, and then she like whips around with her little broom in hand.
Oh,
They want to talk to you.
Yes.
I heard that you were outside the village in the walk thing for a long time.
2,000 yards stairs here.
Do you know where there would be any holes, like caves? Big holes?
She turns to you, Luca. Why did you bring him here?
God, you might know what he wants. I'll find it so you can go away.
She kind of like turns the broom back to you defensively. Well manicured handle, but then the outside edge is just straw tied up with a cord, and she's kind of like, yes.
Which way?
She points over to the like the west, basically. You know that to the right, like if you continue this path, they kept referencing the sea, so she points back, kind of like the way you came, in a way, like back in that direction. She's like, that way.
Okay, can I see any landmarks in the distance, like a giant pig person with fucking duck lips?
Make a perception check.
You see precisely that.
That is a 10.
That is a solid 10. Looking over, you don't see anything immediately. You can see that there's trees, there's tall grass. It's all that rainbow color that keeps changing, almost like a landscape painting that moves. And as you kind of look at it, there's really nothing too much, but she's like, she sees you looking and she's like, those trees, between those trees, go that way. That one, and that one, that way.
Okay. Thank you.
She goes back to sweeping, kind of like cautiously. It's almost like she's doing a really bad job of like, I am sweeping, but I'm watching you.
I put a goal down on whatever.
Just put it on like this side of her little like porch.
Yeah.
She looks. She watches it. And just keeps. Yeah, they don't know what money is, but she's just staring at it like, what did you do?
Great.
You have strange talismans.
That makes him a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll not be taken by your witchcraft.
Now they will
This
always be
steals my
watching.
soul, doesn't it?
Yes.
Kind of.
But not in the way you might think.
Wow. That was such a dick move.
Look at me.
What are you doing?
Playing with my kids, probably.
That's right.
Oh,
I'm
hang
helping her. Yeah.
We're still good. I'm
I'm still trying to. chop
Make
it
a,
up.
Oh, we just finished eating, is what we were. Right? We just finished lunch.
Make an
Okay.
investigation check, please.
Yeah. We'll go back out to the fields then. I'll go with y'all.
You head out.
Yeah.
You see them kind of like putzing around on the outside.
Nice!
I rolled a natural 20
You're
on this
good.
right before anybody came here.
I am. It's beautiful.
Again, it's happening
She
again.
rolled a nothing.
She get advantage. 'Cause I'm-
Are you helping?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then yes, you do.
Please roll another one.
Okay, okay. Investigation.
That would be my name.
22.
22. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Searching around on the outside here, you can find a number of tall reeds that kind of
Did I
match.
get wood from when we were chopping it? And that's when the pink
Make
came
an
over.
athletics check for that one.
Shit.
Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
3.
3.
Mhm.
You're gonna be able to get it. It's just gonna take a very long time. You're gonna be spending like the next hour or so
That's
attempting
fine.
to do that.
I'll do that.
Even just like carving off a chunk, like. And the thing is, you need 2 of them.
2 chunks.
Yeah, because you need to be able to
Like
press the
Minecraft.
paper together
Okay.
between them.
I can't use rocks or something like that.
You
Yeah.
can
You can use
after you cut
Oh.
the first one, but
Oh,
you've
yeah.
already committed. You're like
Okay.
just
Well, then,
sawing
yeah.
your way through this
I'll get
this
the wood.
stump.
And then.
So you get one piece. It takes
Yeah.
about an hour. You just kind of sit there, waiting patiently.
She hasn't
this.
told me what else we need yet, so I'm just sitting.
What? I thought I knew.
I obviously scare away the boar.
Exchange. Yay!
With
What?
tea.
No, get out of here.
So you managed to get this sort of like the top is flat, luckily, because they already saw it through. But the bottom is a little bit wonky as you've like cut and carved, but it'll still function as a
Okay.
press to push down with.
Alright. Then I need what's the reeds
As you
we were talking
probably about after the hour, you see her like finally hold up this wheel of, and then you just see her kind of standing there like.
I'll put it in my pack.
Okay, stuff in your backpack.
Alright, I'll go for the plant
Your
fibers.
wheel of
All right.
You need 2 of those.
I'll get a rock wheel.
I'll get a rock.
Well,
Yeah.
how big's this wheel?
Well,
It's like the size of a stump tree, so probably about that big. They're not big trees.
Well, depending on how big the paper is, you could just chop that in half. And then go
okay.
like a sandwich.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 flat pieces.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
The top's flat.
You're gonna cut that in half.
Oh my god. Can I cut it in half?
As you see her getting it back out, like I can do this.
Okay. So I'm going for the plant fibers.
All right. So, are you gonna cut it in half, or are you gonna save it for later?
I'll just store it for now.
Okay. So for
Okay.
now, you begin to kind of walk away. You see her taking off, begin to follow along. She's looking around, kind of like scanning, making make a perception check.
You gonna tell me what we're doing anytime soon?
No. Hold on a second.
She
What
can't even
was that,
see what she's
perception?
doing.
5. No, wait. 2.
2.
Because I was looking at
Looking
the
around in
situation.
this area, there's tall grass, but there's no sign of any like reed or like tall sort of stock like that. As you approach, you just kind of see her like she has this wheel sticking out of her backpack. She's holding a weird looking axe that's made of a material you're unfamiliar with. And as you approach, you just see them standing, and she's just like clichély scouting.
Yeah.
Just
Is
cannot.
there like grass right in front of my eyes?
No.
That's what I do.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for plant materials to make
Well,
paper.
there's plants everywhere here. One
They need to be like long, skinny, like I don't know if you have reeds here or cattails.
Do I know a place that has it?
With a
Is it
brief
like-
description, you
Is it like 3 feet away from her?
Like a
Damn it.
marsh.
This
Skewing
one staring me in the
those.
by the,
Yeah,
by the actual
you.
sea. To the right.
Which is near the village? Reachable by me?
It's within walking distance.
Well, you're never going to find those around here. You need water for that.
Which way is
That way.
Usually you guys go in groups though because it's not in the village. It's like a little walk, but
I wouldn't recommend wandering there alone, though. It's quite dangerous outside the village.
wrong?
What are you?
Tiefling.
How tall?
5 foot, right?
Yeah, I think 5 foot.
Okay, so towering.
You're a giant.
Oh, you should. I mean, that might be okay.
Am I taller than Rob?
Yes, you are.
I didn't know that. I learned today.
How you doing, buddy?
But yes, if you'd like, I can go with you. And I'll show you where they are.
I meant with the nose.
You wander
I wanna
into my
make sure you're
village
okay.
Oh, yeah.
unannounced, uninvited. You've already inconvenienced us as much as you're going to. So let's go find these roots so we can get you
I'm gonna
gone.
like blush a lot when you say that and like look down at the ground.
Good. I am making direct eye contact.
I don't know.
And
I
I'm
can feel
not
it.
looking away or blinking
Well, I
in any
mean,
way,
he's-
shape, or form.
She's significantly shorter than you, so even if you arch
You're
down
looking
dead
down,
to the
so you're
ground,
like eye.
No, I look at like the side, like I'll turn and
Like
like
an awkward 360 as you're talking,
Yeah.
moving around the outside.
no.
So you guys are gonna go to the after.
Yeah.
Or you guys wanna walk?
I'll take them to the Astral Sea.
So have you ever had like hot dogs or like a Lobber cheesesteak
I don't know.
I don't know what any
Or-
of those are.
or potatoes,
No.
radishes?
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever been on an adventure?
No. Why would I do that?
Oh, because you see all kinds of cool stuff on adventures. Like me and Cole, we got to see a bear give birth. Yep. Little baby cubs went.
Do you want to go to the place that you need to go so you can go home?
Do you want to just get the fuck out of here?
Yeah,
please?
please act
I usually
like
don't
this.
go alone. Unless I'm hunting something. So I'm just gonna wait here until I get back.
As you guys are walking
Or
back
you
towards
have a panic attack.
I can go with you.
as you guys walk towards the center, you see the three of them kind of wandering off towards.
I found out where a hole is.
And I'll keep walking.
We're going.
I give him thumbs
Okay,
up and I
wait, wait.
keep walking.
all right,
We're
fair
going to
enough.
the
I don't
cave
hear
to
that.
find materials for the tuning fork, right?
No, this is.
Yeah, we
well,
need a fork so
yeah.
we could eat our way back to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Alright, then I'm going to go find the tuning fork because paper is not more important than
metal.
what we're doing.
You gotta find metal for the tuning fork.
Could we make a fork
Whatever
out of
we need
paper?
for
So we gotta make the tuning
No.
Didn't notice that you left the group either. I'm gonna be very alarmed in a minute.
fork. Oh no! Mom mode activate.
Are you guys all-
I'm going with them.
Are you
Because
following them or are you
paper
going the
is
other way?
not the priority.
Towards
Oh,
the
I'm
hole.
still looking at the 2 trees.
Oh, you're walking that way towards the tree.
Yeah, I was waiting to let them know where I was going.
Okay. So you guys are heading towards the
You don't like that?
Astral Sea.
Make
Astral
sure you're
Astral
fine.
So wait,
and the three of you are gonna head towards.
I have a kind of like out of game question. The
Uh-huh.
Astral Sea is where like if you put stuff in a bag of holding, it goes out in there, right?
If it
Eventually.
explodes.
So like in my head right now, the Astral Sea is like this black, like inky, like
Polluted.
starry
You'll probably
thing.
get a description
with,
when we
like-
get there.
Just random
source
source
jumping up-
Yeah, like a piece of like a chair sticking out of it, and like
Occasionally a
chest,
hand.
and,
Just start stealing other people's
Just-
bag of holding
There's
items.
just gold everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's
Like in a dead cow.
Yeah,
and
and
a
there's like
troll
pieces of meat and stuff.
Troll dick.
Oh. There's like a cup and stuff. Yeah. So to me, it looks like just like an antique mess that got thrown up in an ocean.
That's only if the bag of holding has been ruptured or destroyed. Does it explode everywhere else?
Okay.
Or in the Astral Sea.
Or everywhere.
Can a dragon fit in a bag of holding?
Depends on the size of the bag.
And the size of the dragon.
Isn't there a weight limit on that thing?
There is a space limit. I think it's 500 cubic feet.
30. I think
it's
30 by
Oh.
It's like huge,
So
but it's
most
not
have
like
Yeah.
not.
impossible to
Dragon.
fill.
You could put a small dragon in there,
Oh,
and then it
maybe.
would suffocate.
Well, it was
Then you
drowned in
have
the
a
Astral Sea.
You'd have a dead dragon.
Imagine like struggling against the waves.
Dead baby Drake.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I had.
All right. For you three, whoever is looking for it, I need you to make an investigation check. Actually, I take that back. You're gonna need to make a perception check first. Now the two of you, take her along the beaten path. Easy enough little jaunt. I'm guessing you stop and pick up a bucket since you're already going.
Yeah.
There's no point not to. So you swing back by the house and you
Well,
grab
that's I was gonna say I swing back by the house anyway and tell the kids to behave themselves, not break
Oh.
anything,
Okay, that's not
or if they break anything, to fix it before I get back.
three of them champion up, and the little one's like kind of like staring at you, and you just kind of see that
23.
glint. No, sorry, two of them.
Okay.
Two of them marshal up together. They stand side by side like resolute, yes. and then you see the youngest one is kind of standing, and you see this glint in his eye. It's deviant.
We'll grab a bucket while looking at him, walk out the door, and just mutter under breath, "Fucking bib."
He's just like when you say I'm gonna go, be good. He's like, it's just there.
I'm gonna go eat spiders.
And he's just covered in spiders
He
already.
doesn't like to eat them. He just likes to play with them.
So you guys head out that way. You guys will most likely arrive first.
Oh, yay!
You take the long walk essentially.
Do I have a yoke with 2 buckets on it?
Yeah,
I prefer that. Carrying 1 bucket sucks.
it would make sense to just get it out of the way. Bring both.
You went with them too, right?
We're all doing
Yeah, the 3 of them.
I'd help him with his perception check, but currently I'm looking for where my life took a wrong turn.
When you said yes.
Yeah.
So it takes about 20-30 minutes
Damn my racial
as
stats.
you walk
Not
along
bad.
the. No, it's not bad at all.
Am I walking can I look for shells? Or are we not that close?
You're not there.
Okay.
You can
So,
look for shells.
You walk basically almost at like a slightly upward angle. You kind of like crest this like upward hill walk essentially. On both sides, you're flanked by tall grass that waves multicolors. It changes randomly. You can see those little signs of those glowing dandelions. This is kind of like closer to the area where they pick those. You see above you, you still have that sort of like that dreamy sort of sky of like weird color bands and stars in the distance. And as you crest over the top of the hill, you can hear the waves, this sort of like lapping sound. And then you're kind of greeted by a new scent, this like sweet kind of smell that kind of distracts you for a minute. I need you to make a perception check, please.
Perceive some shit.
Perception. I think it's 12.
12. Looking around, you're catching like another scent, like another smell scent, but it doesn't really strike you as anything bizarre. But as you crest over the top, you can see these white and sort of gold shore sands. They glint in 2 different colors that kind of mix, almost like those like sand gardens. It's like strangely all in like uniform, but it's just like patchwork of like different colors of silver, white, and like in gold. Not necessarily in material, but in the way that it looks. And then you see the water lapping up, and the water strikes you strange because it doesn't have a color. It's like colorless. It almost reflects down. You can see the sands beneath it before they die off, and you realize that the water just kind of fades into nothing. And as you look out, you can see that skyline comes into another skyline of just stars all the way into the water. As in there's like this strange clear substance universe out before you.
Cool.
Cool.
Take mental note.
Right. It's pretty cool.
It's the world border. Don't go off the map.
At least on
Oh,
this
flat.
side. So that is what you see.
He's on
I'm gonna take a look for some shells.
Well, I want to get the plant fibers first, and then.
So those are gonna be closer to that kind of like crest area where it's like kind of wetter. You know that the water comes up all the way to the crest and then goes back down.
Gotcha.
So right now it seems to be at low tide.
So all the plants.
So as we're going up, I'll point out those reeds to her. Like as we come up those, I'm like, there.
So you run around, make a survival check.
It's like you've got a 4th job.
I'd like to look around and see if anything, anything malignant is lurking.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay.
just a tumor.
Yeah, that's not the word for that, is it?
17.
I'm moving in stagnant.
Nothing immediately strikes you.
Just being wary.
You do know that there's monsters in the sea.
Yeah, I know.
Malicious.
I knew there would be.
Some of them can fly.
Then why are they in the sea?
See.
Because the air is like water to them. They don't have wings, they just kind of swim up and keep going. So like Megalodon, you know?
I thought that's immediately what I went to. Is a giant shark swimming through the sky.
This
That's
is a
why
perfect
It's like,
world.
don't worry,
Killing
we're
myself.
nowhere near the water.
No, it's
It's
perfect.
all water.
Not.
So, you begin gathering up some of the reeds you need. You try to keep them in the same similar height so that way you can cut them, because you're going to have to cut them the tops and bottoms off them to make them uniform. Also because
Extra, you can bundle them, we can bring them, and we can cut them to size somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I'm just like gathering it. I'm not like
you head closer to the water. I'm assuming to gather shells.
Something Cece was delicious.
Okay. So you head down there and you see these little like smooth sort of shells. Some of them have ridges, but for the most part, they seem like they're like what you would normally associate with a seashell. They don't seem to have any strange coloration because they're already kind of like shiny and multicolored. But you begin to kind of collect them up. You notice some have like a film on them.
Abalone.
You notice they kind of have like a film on them from the water and everything. And
Okay.
Gather up all your stuff.
Is the side quest on my sidebar? So checked.
Materials gathered.
Yeah. Do I have to
Well, don't
report
forget,
back
you
to
have to
the-
take. You have to take.
Well, you've only got 2 of 18 right now.
While you're,
Shoot.
while you're there, though, make sure you
45
pick up the
harasses
quest
as well.
from the walrus and the carpenter.
Yeah. Is there like a signal? No. Sorry.
You see a giant exclamation point in the distance.
Oh,
Run
man.
towards it. Another
It's too-
question.
It falls over and kills you.
Oh wait, I try to get to it, but then it's like you're not high enough for this area.
You're just stuck running at the border.
Yeah.
Digging
Spinning
a hole in
around,
the
spinning
sand.
around. Yeah.
God damn, invisible walls.
Anyway.
You head down to the water and grab some.
Yes.
Easy enough, scoop it up.
Just grab some space.
You see her.
Do
Since
you
she was
want
already
me
there.
to help you carry the buckets?
No.
I just offered to be nice. I can't carry that thing. So I gathered my things. Okay.
She started back.
Yeah.
Sure.
Doing this for 6 years. Pretty comfortable with it.
You 3. As you
Had to
kind of
check
begin
on my
walking
husband
towards
at
the
that point.
thing, I'm guessing you're lagging behind in a way.
Not say that.
So have you ever had a hoagie?
Fucking egg.
Been asking you.
Shittiest clip
Incessantly.
show.
I imagine most of the responses would be, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then just poorly
Maybe.
explaining. Yeah, bread.
It's bread, smash, smash,
What's
smash.
bread?
It's bread, it's long, it's bumpy.
There's stuff inside
It's like
of
the
it.
cucumber, except not as cucumbery
Not as green.
Different colors.
Unless you get lettuce.
and meat flavor.
Then it's kind of green.
Yeah.
Gross.
Alright, what are you guys doing as you walk?
I did my perception check.
Where
That
when my
was
life went wrong.
16.
Oh, okay.
16, you say.
Yeah. Looking
Um,
for that hole or
Cave.
cave or something.
just looking for that hole.
The earth
Calm
bucket.
down. Calm down.
Like a teenager. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Calm down.
Before we get back to the village, can I make sure there's nothing like following us or anything?
Okay, make a perception check.
That's a 2.
Solid 2.
Yes.
Hard 2. God.
Plus
No.
0.
Yeah, plus 0. That's a hard 2. Why are you doing that?
No.
Maybe you should change
You
out
know-
dice.
I
You do
did.
not-
That's my second one.
You do not seem to notice anything.
You need to accept that your dice are choosing those rolls.
I'm trying. I'm scared to touch it.
They're not choosing those roles. You just need to accept this.
Your character is.
Stop.
So, as you guys are looking around, you rolled a 17?
16.
16. Looking around, you're kind of trying to see, due to tall grass and trees and stuff like that, you don't see any holes or anything like that. The way here kind of seems to, become hilly. And as you cross off the beaten path that leads up to the other little like farm patch that these guys seem to use, you are walking through tall grass, which kind of unsettles you. Stay out of the tall grass.
Here come the
Um,
raptor barks.
Yeah. Hey! What's up?
I think there's some guys out here.
Someone's here.
No.
That's strange.
Let's eat them.
Why is the elder out there?
Sneak up with them.
Fucking eat him. So, but you follow along reluctantly, and as you do, you begin to kind of like peek around, and you can hear some the rustling, the sort of like these like strange little chittering sounds.
Pull out my flail,
Mm-hmm.
my axe, and I just start swinging the flail in front.
Oh
knock down the
no.
grass.
Right.
Poor Luca.
He's never seen such just mindless.
What is your
violence.
what is everyone's passive stealth? 10 plus your dex or stealth modifier if you have proficiency in it.
11.
13.
10 plus your dex or stealth modifier.
Yeah,
If
if
you
you're
have-
proficient with
yeah.
stealth, then you can just
Is
use
your
your stealth.
Stormy and proficient?
That means you have expertise, so it's 18.
God
So
damn.
it's 18. So you're instinctively stepping quietly and attempting not to draw too much attention to yourself. And as you do,
Just use
however,
passive for the rest of the game.
Well, you gotta think about it. Sometimes you're naturally quiet, but when you're trying to be quiet, sometimes
It
you
just
can
doesn't work.
accidentally
Step
be a
on
little
all
bit
the
more.
leaves and sticks and coins that people left out.
It's like that part you think is really quiet and it's just not.
And then you shit yourself. And you're like, well, that's
what is
not
your
stuff.
armor class?
Mine is
geez.
17.
17. It rolled 14 plus 4, 18. As you are swinging down in front of you, you make this wide swing, and as you do, you knock over some of the grass, and you see it fold over the form of what appears to be a very large spider. Probably about, oh no, it kind of
Oh
like
no.
prostate, so as you fucking swing over, it kind of like stands up, and you see this blue and white skin, the multiple eyes, and as it does, both of its fangs just go right out towards your leg. Ew, stop it! Stop doing that! I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. And that is 4 damage. Piercing.
That is an 18, sir.
18.
Luckily, we know Rashid's really good at constitutional saving
So you
throws.
take 4 points of piercing
Look
damage.
at those.
Do not want to get hit with that.
What you rolling for, buddy?
16, you succeeded, so it goes down to 8 points of poison damage as it
So 12.
right into your leg. As you do, it sinks its fangs into you, and you see it go into smoke and disappear. So you just have this like two holes stuck in your leg.
Nothing to show for it.
I just got these pants.
Oh, that's right. They are new.
Ow.
Not anymore, they're not.
You just have little bits of blood and a little bit of like strange clear ichor pouring out.
See? Adventure!
Oh no.
Did you turn into that? You were a cucumber earlier.
So you continue your journey as you met a trap, a living trap, I guess. And you continue pushing forward.
As he starts to walk off, I'm going to start batting the back of him. Stop! Why do things that have faces? Why are you so crazy? And then I am going to cast Cure Wounds.
Okay. He reaches out, puts his little 3. You focus on the area around you, and as you do, you can see this little like faint shimmer pulse out from him for a moment. It seems to vitalize the grass around you, and it kind of like makes it glow a little bit as he's like. And you feel better. He just course through you.
That's 7 plus
Wisdom.
3.
So yeah, I think you're full, right?
No, you lost 12.
So I'm at 33.
There you go. So you feel it regenerate through you. You're kind of surprised, as I think this is the first time anyone's used healing magic on you, correct?
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why so many of our party
I
members
just-
end up dying.
Rolls.
What's healing magic?
Right.
And I just go, what?
People can do that.
Why
How,
can't any
how do you do that?
They do just like
I don't like getting hurt.
how do you do it?
You just do it.
So loud.
oh no.
You just see them kind of like standing there staring at each other like, what?
I don't think this is gonna work. Remember, you used all your magic on the guy back
Oh,
there?
yeah, I did.
So you guys continue to press. Go ahead and make another perception check, please.
This one is an 8.
Solid 8. As you find yourself about still continuing forward, looking around, hearing the weird sounds of the dreamscape, you find yourself crossing past the 2 trees that you were initially looking for, and you're standing there. No sign of any like immediate holes.
Okay, everybody spread out and look for clues.
He turned into Scooby.
Or like a hole. I mean, if you just see a hole, that's fine.
We're looking for a cave.
Or something
I will-
similar.
Look a little further in the distance if I can.
Okay, go
See
ahead
if
and
I
make
can
a
find
perception check,
evidence.
please.
Nope.
Eyeball
cannot.
directions to whatever.
Is it a 2?
It's a 2.
No!
Solid
seriously?
2.
What is going on today?
Two swells.
It is a 3.
Oh.
1
Nice.
whole point higher. Oh.
It looks like you found something, buddy.
Good at this adventure thing. 24.
24. That's the opposite of what I wanted to do. Looking past where he's standing currently between the two trees, further up you know that there is, you're familiar with, you've heard before, you can't seem to place where or who was talking about it, but you do remember that further in there are like holes, and that's when you remember that somebody in your village fucking just fell into one and died because they have actual like holes that lead into like chasms. And so it occurs to you that suddenly
it's Minecraft.
this area is a little bit treacherous. But also with your fantastic perception check, you smell this strange, sickly, sweet, like honey scent. And you, looking around, you can see almost what appears to be a little like glowing flower end.
I think those are good.
You know that there are rare flowers in here that have like syrup.
So, and then I will relay to them the death holes.
Okay, what about the honeysuckle?
Flowers here that have them.
They don't really eat them, but it's edible.
How far is it?
Hold on.
Up the way a little bit.
I will relay back to him. Maybe it tastes like one of those sweets you were talking about.
I'm gonna go over to where he's indicating.
Mm-hmm.
Take out my axe.
Go get some?
And
Well,
just-
you gotta walk a little bit. He's pointing to it. It's like maybe like 20, 30 feet away from you.
Okay.
I take that back. Probably about like 50 feet away from you.
I'm gonna
Look
take
how
out
far
my
it is, I guess.
Morning Star, the spiked club,
Mm-hmm.
and just start poking the ground in front of me as I go.
Trying to fucking squeeze any little spiders.
Well, that or in case I find a hole at it.
Oh yeah, fair enough. So continuing down, you kind of take a quick jaunt out, and as you do, you see probably about 30 feet. You begin to notice that the ground is clear of flower or of standard plant life, and as you crest through this little like small gap, you can see a 30 foot in diameter flower. There's like these long sort of petals. It looks like some sort of lily. It has these long
Probably eats people.
petals. One second.
Or it sings.
Or both.
Well, it eats people.
It seems after it eats people.
Well, could happen.
Okay. It seems to have orange flowers, these long sort of petals. It has 4 of them that kind of drape out. In the center of which you can see this basin that has like this like clear goldish kind of liquid in it, and there's one very large single like stamen or point with a glowing little bulb at the end.
Is that?
Pain is just
Is it?
It's so big I can't fit it in my bag.
No.
Is it safe?
You know, we could eat later. Let's go find a hole.
How high up is the?
The bulb?
Yeah.
You get the sense that that's probably how it germinates. The pool is what's actually the liquid.
Sweet smelling stuff?
Yeah.
I have it.
Like if you have a vial or anything like that.
I might have an empty potion from like forever ago.
I don't think I've ever had a potion.
Or you can go. Not to as
I
well.
mean, yeah. I might just go do that. Run over to you.
It's your life. I'm not making you do anything.
I will. I'm gonna go run over and stick my hand in and take some.
Go over, put your hand in it, a little bit, scoop it up. It has the consistency of like a slightly watery honey. It's like this thick sort of syrup. And you just kind of like scoop it up and it kind of slowly fades out. You do notice, unlike a honey though, it doesn't seem to stick to your hands. It actually, it feels sticky until it slides off and then it's gone.
It's like that weird gel stuff you play with as a kid.
But it smells really nice. You kind of like pop up, you see. Take some?
Yeah.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Life's not fun without surprises.
And
7. Okay.
Okay.
This entire place is a giant trap.
I figured.
So as you take it up into your mouth, there's this brief moment where there's a bunch of flashes in like almost like synapses firing, but all around you. You see these like sparks, and only you can see them. They're just like, and a bunch of images flood around you all at the same time before suddenly they all just vanish for a minute, and you take 12 points of poison damage
Oh my god.
and recoil from it as you realize that your brain could not handle whatever just was about to happen.
Yeah, that'll fuck you
Like-
up.
Flop backwards for a minute.
Yeah, you reel back and kind of like.
And
All
you're,
but 3
you're
of my
only
health.
supposed to use like a teaspoon.
Hmm?
What I've been
So
told.
all but 3 of my health.
Damn,
I
Rob.
have no health.
Go lick the things then.
Anyone else?
Actually, I see that and just gonna grab him and just kind of drag him
Is he
away.
looking like bad now?
You
Yeah,
see, you
pretty much
before
right
you kind of got hit by that, you realize that you were seeing a bunch of images from your life, like you were watching them as like a movie for a minute,
Jesus was taking you
Watch my
home.
life flash before my eyes, guys.
something like that.
Does he look visibly wounded? Like,
No,
bleeding from anything?
it was almost like you, from the outside perspective, what you saw was his eyes begin to glow, like this like iridescent sort of like brilliant color. At which point he suddenly just like kind of like recoiled from it and dropped. So clearly it was like some sort of
Come on.
But what did it taste
It tastes like a sweet honey. Very nice.
like?
With it on toast.
Maybe we should get some with like our water skin and bring it back.
That's a good idea.
Then I'm gonna look over my shoulder at him and go.
So far, all bad.
Can you imagine like
Exactly
actual
what
Zongyak
Adventure's
doing it? It's kind of horrifying. Yeah.
No part of this has been fun yet.
Zongyak in my head really reminds me of Gollum.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
okay. It was
So
just,
you're gonna-
my life.
So you gonna grab some?
Yeah, I'm gonna dump out my empty water skin.
Okay.
Because it's never filled with water.
Mm-hmm.
Is it filled with meat? Okay.
He doesn't like booze.
You're gonna fill it up. Go ahead and put
No, just
Uh,
meat. You just shove it in there.
3 uses.
Sweet family.
You'll have 3 solid hits of the what's they're called lily of a
It's
lily.
basically pate.
3 hits.
You sir, if you want to make a history check to see if you can remember anything about these, or if anybody's ever had one. You guys don't really have a purpose to drink or eat them, so
History, right?
Yeah.
That is 16.
16. Trying to remember if you've heard anybody actually trying one before. There's a moment that flashes for you. You remember somebody saying that they drank from one that was yellow, and they swear to God they saw the future.
Yeah, that'll get you fucked up.
Yeah. Seems like it.
It's that choice shit.
It's the vaguest of memes.
How's drinking?
Somebody queue up shooting
Okay.
stars.
So let's keep looking for holes.
Okay. So you guys head back. Both of you guys, or all 3 of you, can make investigation checks to continue your journey and not eat shit.
Oh, you're looking at the wrong team.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Ah!
Not good, huh?
No,
Okay.
it's not.
What's the marching order? So I know.
Natural 20.
The one time you don't want things to
I got a
happen.
19 minus 2.
19 miles. Wow.
17.
7.
You're right there in between, or beneath those numbers. So
I'm
with a
having
little
rough
bit
time
more,
right now. I've gotta rethink my life.
Yeah.
with a little bit
So
more
do I.
meandering, you guys begin to kind of maneuver through the brush, and you begin to clear your way through. There's a couple moments that are a little harrowing where your mace goes out and there's a hole, but it doesn't seem to be one that's big enough for you to necessarily. You probably would have like leg would have went into
Go
it
for
and
hole.
fucking stuck. But you maneuver around for a little bit before Yours was a natural 20. You're the first one where you catch this whiff of a strange smell, and as you do, you kind of turn in between. There's a moment between the grass moving as you see this sort of like mound that goes almost like cuts down, and there seems to be a way in to caves, which is the opposite of what you want to do today.
See, a little part of you wants to be an
There's a couch. It's
adventurer.
just like, so you get this stuff.
Just a little bit. Also, before we go in, I should probably warn you that halls have monsters like me that eat people. And they also have these fat guys that smell really bad that eat people. They also have orcs who wear bones. They're pretty cool.
No, they tried to kill me.
No.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that said McGruh.
I don't remember. I passed out.
We said some really racist shit about
Me
it.
too.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, there's also fire newts. If you see them, just say Kuraza and then bash your head in. And there's also spiders
It's fine.
and mushrooms. Mushrooms are good. And that's it.
So, you guys are hanging out there? What's the plan, Stan?
Going in.
Can you see in the dark?
Cool. We're going in.
Oh, you can see in the dark, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to crouch down
I
and
couldn't see the
actually
button. Very ineffective, you
be quiet about this now.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get some stealth checks. You want to be stealth too? You as well? What is your modifier there, Andy?
+1.
Always.
All right. Let me. Nope. Pad here. Let me grab my
That's
books.
terrible. Light attracts attention. So I can show you some of this. Also, I carry a murder stick.
Also, there's cave fish.
It's that one cave shark.
All right. So.
Oh, yeah.
The shark
So you
people.
guys
How
went
did
into the
the
cave?
shark people?
Of course they did.
And Zongiak.
You know, for the stuff you said they needed to get home.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
So
fault.
you guys find yourself
I didn't tell them
dipping
to go.
into the caves. As you crest within, you notice that there's no immediate lights
You said to get
at all. So
Except there's a bunch of empty torches on the left side.
this deep and roughly carved pit extends at an angle downward. So as soon as you kind of crest, there's like a ledge, and then you have to drop down like 2 or 3 ledges, each one being easily like 5 to 6 feet tall. These like sort of like cliff.
Holy shit.
And then the cavern kind of extends along the top, and you notice a couple holes peeking out from where people could probably just like fall straight in. And as you crest down about the 3rd one, you finally find your feet on solid ground, and the cave extends high above you, but you're actually not. It's narrow on either side as you kind of try to maneuver around one another. For you, since you're like smaller size, it's a little bit easier, but being medium, and you're small as well, so it's easy for you to maneuver. But being medium is a little uncomfortable, as there are parts where you have to actually like sidestep. This isn't a cave mined out. This is naturally occurring in this way, so it varies widely in width.
Underneath the holes, do I see anything that's fallen down there, or
Make a perception check.
Like Skelly Mans?
Yeah.
Well, and more Skelly Mans.
Not here.
that is a 12.
12. Not immediately. Nothing in this area at least. So you guys continue on your path downwards. The ground slopes slightly, and you begin to lose some of those holes as they become darker because they're too high up. And then other ones that there's just no, and then the ceiling actually begins to kind of narrow down into what you consider like naturally occurring tunnels. There are a couple gaps as you walk through. You notice that there are holes on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side that are small enough for someone to crawl through if they wanted to, but not necessarily big enough to traverse standing up. But you keep pressing forward.
Ra, how do you find metal?
Probably 0 clue.
Make a history check. I mean, if you in real life know how to do it, your character would know how to do it as well. And I say that only because if you
I
know
feel like my
about it,
character has about as much knowledge about this as I do.
I feel like your character's
I would
genuinely
say-
interested in everything that he's done today.
I had the thought of lighting a torch so
I
that
got
the
a
firelight could
6.
glint off things if
You're gonna find a bunch of pyrite. You're gonna be really
You know
mad
that
'cause
it
it's
occurs underground. That's for sure. In
veins.
I've heard the word veins thrown around. So these veins of, but you've never actually been in caves to see what it looks like.
You probably also know that mines are dangerous.
Usually.
That's why we have a canary.
There's fire newts. You gotta say rock rah and then bash their heads in.
So
Adventures suck.
that is what he relays. He knows that it occurs naturally underground and that it spreads out into veins. But I don't know, you're not really sure what a vein is.
I feel like a morning dog.
Oh, what if we hit it with light? Like this is shiny. So if it's metal and you show light on it,
Touch the head,
the ball.
Yeah.
giggity, and
Holy
cast
shit.
light like that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think we'd find it just on the side of the cave. Do we? I have no idea.
Make
Please,
an
Shiny.
investigation check.
Sure.
I'm gonna keep shaking the light so that maybe it'll hit something.
Mm-hmm.
I will aid in looking for something shiny.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check at advantage, please.
They're checking the wall. I'll check the floor.
It's
Ah. 8 plus 5 is 13.
13. Looking around, nothing immediately strikes you. As he shakes the light, you hear him talking about shiny and it'll glint maybe, but you look around and you don't really see anything. At least right now, nothing immediately strikes you. So you guys continue to press further in. You notice that the sort of chasm splits into two opposite paths, one heading right, one heading left. They continue further.
They're both owls.
oh that way. Okay.
Yeah, that way. Let's try this one first.
Which way you going? Okay. So,
So we're going left.
Yes.
All right. As we start to move away, and then I'm going to use the mold earth cantrip to create a little arrow pointing that way.
that you went that way.
Can't we just make a tuning fork out of the rocks like that?
I don't want to eat with a rock.
It's not for eating.
Why are we making it?
Please stop looking at me.
Can you do it?
You can't see me. I have my thing on.
Puts a little visor down on the head.
What is a tuning
Just stare into my big eye.
It looks.
You can just draw it in the dirt.
Yeah, I can. I'm gonna try in the dirt.
It looks like this.
Like a U with a handle.
Yeah.
All right, so the thing he drew, I'm just going to mold
This
it
is
and
a fork.
excavate that
Mhm.
exact shape.
Okay. Pull it out.
Now what do we do with it?
Is this usable? Can we do this? Is this okay?
What is it?
What do we do with it?
Test
Tap
it.
it against the side.
Clunk.
Fuck. No, I'm not gonna try it. I'm not.
You have a stone tuning fork right now.
I'm gonna stab somebody with it. That's fine.
Well, a stone in the shape of a tuning fork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stone in the shape of a tuning fork. Solid piece of stone too.
It's pretty neat.
When we find metal, we need you to do that again.
What is metal?
It's this. And I hold out my. Here, you can hold it. It won't bite. Just if you swing it, watch out for your head.
We got it back.
Oh
Okay.
no, the field is
It's also this.
And we're going to start walking backwards and then park behind them.
Okay. As you kind of chill for a minute,
And then maybe just poke this out between them.
your little schnoz out. So, you guys continue on the left then? You're heading left?
Yeah.
So you guys make your way down to the left-hand path. as you maneuver around again through this sort of like roughly cut naturally occurring chasm, you notice that you start to begin to see strange, weird shaped fungi. You know, it's like they have like the standard mushroom caps, but you know, like folds out almost like dramatically. Some that are like inverted upside down in certain ways, but they all seem to like glow faintly. As you maneuver past, you do catch a brief glint of something with your light, but as you turn back, it seems to be some sort of like gemstone sticking out of the wall.
God damn it.
Oh, how big is it?
Probably about the size of your fist.
That is Earth. I need you to make one out of that. Just like this.
Mold Earth specifically needs rock.
Yeah,
It is
Sure.
a rock.
Right, but not the precious stones and metals. It won't work with.
Can I
There are other spells.
try and
But,
carve this out of the wall?
yeah, you can pick it out or try to pick it out if you want to.
Yeah, let's try it out.
I'm gonna watch.
Well, I mean, I could harvest the actual stone out, but I wouldn't be able to do anything to the stone once it's out.
Okay, so you want to try to pop it out? Basically mold the earth around it to go
Yeah.
spit it out in a way? Okay, sure.
I would like to birth the gemstone, yes.
Okay, so as he walks up to the wall, you're kind of like trying to like pick at it, and he kind of like walks
Well,
up.
I mean, first I'm going to touch the stone because I've never done this before.
Mm-hmm. And much like a giant pimple, he just kind of slams on the ground with like this heavy thud sound.
I'll pick that up.
It's like a giant emerald is what it looks like.
I'm not putting anything else in my bag.
I'm gonna look in the hole that it was.
It seems to be like empty.
Stick the ball of light.
It seems to be now that he's pushed it out, it seems to have taken the shape of like pushing, you know, the earth inside.
There's no metal in there.
Alright, let's keep
Okay.
going.
Now that you guys are continuing down, you can make another investigation check, please. All three of you can, or one at advantage. Not good so far, huh? Not good.
See the guy with the lowest. That is a 1. Not a natural, but a 1.
7.
3.
No. As you guys continue this pathway down, you ultimately continue down for what feels like a considerable amount of time. And due to the fact you can't see anything and you're unsure of how long you've spent in here, you actually lose track of how long you've been in here as you've been looking around. And so as you continue to move farther in, however, you crest over to what appears to be...
Once his light wears off, we'd have an hour. That would be... Because it only lasts an hour.
Well, it would have worn off by now.
Do it again.
And then you guys continue your trek through these sort of treacherous. A little bit of footing gives away every now and again into like the dirt settling. You have to step over some rocks that have fallen in or fallen out from the ceiling above you. But ultimately, you end up coming to what appears to be a semicircular opening, almost like a hole or something that's kind of like weirdly shaped. But as you crest into it, you see above, surprisingly far, as you've kind of lost track of how far you've been coming actually downwards slowly. Looking up, like a pinprick, you can see that there's light filtering in from what appears to be a decent-sized hole. But now that it's farther away, probably like 300-400 feet, like up, almost like a football field going straight up.
I don't really have any sense of time, so the only way I would be able to mark the time is that light's gone off however many times I've cast it.
However, at the bottom here, you do see what appears to be a part of wood that's been splintered, and as you kind of wave your light over top it, it appears to be one of those like almost like a rickshaw cart that's shattered, and there seems to be a corpse at the bottom of the ravine here.
I go look at it.
You head over there. You see what appears to be the skeletal remains of a Uari, currently wrapped in what appears to be faintly glowing and in perfect condition a outer robe that you recognize as a dress, but to you it just looks like the rest of the robes you've been seeing.
Should we take him back?
I don't know that I have anything on URE death. At least, probably
If
don't.
not, can I have the dress?
No, can we have the boat?
I don't have anything about URE and the burial.
How they bury people? They do bury people.
If they even particularly carry that belief.
They do bury them. They don't bury them very far. It's almost like, you know, the little mounds that you'll see, you know. They bury them under the ground, but it's mostly as like a ceremonial thing. They're more concerned not necessarily with where the berry is or where the body is buried, but more of a remembrance of the person that it was. So typically they almost like they like do little shrines, or they'll have an item that represents like this person, and that's where they kind of like keep their memories. However, yeah, if the body is present, they do typically keep it and they put it nearby the ancestors. You do have like an ancestral sort of thing where you keep, try to keep track of your lineage due to your short lifespans.
All right. I don't think the dress is a problem.
What?
But if you wouldn't mind collecting the bones, I'd like to take them back. And if we could maybe take a wheel from the rickshaw.
Maybe I can roll a wheel. Probably.
All right, you gotta hold this stuff, and I give him my Morning Star, which is the big bone skull thing with spikes all out of it, and then I start,
Taking the bones out of the dress.
yeah, I'm putting them into my backpack
What are you doing?
with everything else I own.
Guess I'll try and detach this wheel.
Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and make an athletics check.
Best roll of the day, guy.
That's what we say. It's not weird.
13.
13. You kind of like begin tilting the wheel back and forth off the cart's pretty much shattered, but one wheel is still looking like it's functional. It takes a little bit of finagling back and forth before you finally be able to snap it off the little pin that holds it in place. But you find yourself holding a wheel. Slide on the old shoulder.
Thank you.
Rolling is gonna make a lot of noise.
Then
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
so
take the
hard to
robes and go whoop, 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 whoop. Stuff that in my bag.
Okay.
And then go, why are we here?
We need metal.
Adventure! Oh, no.
Car has pins.
Oh,
Pins are metal.
could you just hold
Or is
that?
it wooden pins?
Wooden. Everything. They make everything.
Because I got this
Yeah,
and
we don't
then
have
the
anything metal
axe.
at all. We have
And
stone.
backpack
Don't
full of-
even know what metal is.
I have a backpack full of person. And I don't want to hurt the bones with that bone.
I can't use that.
It's freaky.
That'll protect
What is it?
Oh, it's a Zongak's original bone mace.
Oh.
Made out of a skull with spikes coming out of it.
I'm gonna turn around. Wow.
It's like a Mario monster.
Looking
Yeah,
around,
it's like-
can we see anything?
Make a perception check.
I am Zongak the Brave, also
13.
Zongak the Merciful, and
13.
And Zongak.
Let me double check real quick.
Yeah, it's on guy sometimes.
You can have all monsters now. Saying
I will become their leader.
To carry away.
9.
9.
Did you perceive anything?
Oh,
You looking for anything specific?
wherever the noise is coming from.
Jesus. Bounced around the cave, I imagine.
That's a 21.
21. You're the only one who sees further out, just outside of your dark vision. You see something on all fours, kind of like goblinoid in appearance. It has these almost like these like boils on its skin. Its skin seems to be hard and ridged, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Its skin is like a dark azure kind of blue color. It has long sort of like skeletal features. It seems to be the same height as you. It has rows of nothing but sharp pinprick teeth. Its eyes seem to be like this yellowish green color. And as it's kind of like laying on all fours, it kind of realizes that you can see it. It's just like
I'm gonna
long floppy ears.
This doesn't help.
go down in the same stance. And I'm gonna say in Goblin. Hello.
In goblin back.
I'm looking for metal. Have you seen any? It's shiny when you hit it with light.
Its head kind of like does that freaky like turn 180 degrees over its shoulder, and you see the back of its like bulbous ridged head, and it's just like, and it looks back at you, and then you hear from further in, you hear,
You guys see Bo?
What's the matter?
What?
What?
Uh,
No, not you.
I'm gonna
It's our mounts.
I'm gonna hold out my flail. Yo, it's this stuff, but apparently it's in veins in the walls. It shines like this. See? Shiny, 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 shiny.
Let me confirm.
At which point, I need you to make a perception check, please. Rashid.
Oh,
Oh dear.
I'm good at this, guys. Oh, I am good at this, guys.
Oh shit.
I got an 18 this time.
Nice.
18. What weapons are you using right now?
I have.
What are you using?
Let's see. The last one I had out was my crossbow.
Crossbow was the last one you had,
It's the last one I had out. Yeah,
like in your hand, or is it in your
in my
holster?
hand. Right
What do you
now,
have?
I have my rapier out because we were going to cut grass, and then he started cutting grass.
As you're standing there and you're like kind of watching this, you see him talking to darkness essentially right on the edge. You can't even really tell due to the way that it's all obscured. You can hear this exchange in Goblin, this strange sort of like gnashing sort of sound that they make back and forth. Your side feels slightly lighter as your crossbow is missing.
No.
And as you turn around, you're like, what the fuck? Standing like 10 feet from you is what appears to be another one of these things. Blue, large, floppy ears. It's short and small in stature. It's holding your crossbow in its hands.
Oh god.
And it has like, it's currently wearing like, it looks like it's made out of, you recognize it as Yuari cloth.
Oh.
It has itself
That's
sort of
really
like, it has the little,
Oh,
the tide underneath the nose with the
no.
large pointed nose, and it comes up into
yeah,
a,
he's a bandit.
he's a little
Yeah.
bandito one.
Oh, no.
And he's holding it in his hand. He's just like, fling, and just fires off the arrow. And he's like, this is the greatest.
This is adorable.
Yeah.
Terrifying
This
adorable.
is the
I'm sorry, they don't have noses. I think they're
greatest.
flat.
Oh,
But they have like this. They have the little head bound up, and he's just holding it like sharp teeth kind of curl into a big smile, and then it goes invisible. It vanishes.
Does the crossbow go invisible? Oh.
Anything it's holding or carrying.
That would have been amazing if they went invisible with the crossbow just floating there. Watch your
Just on the
crossbow run
crossbow.
away.
Do I know it?
Yep.
Could you have your friend bring back the crossbow, or I'm gonna eat him?
That's my crossbow. Crossbow. Crossbow.
They're gone.
Okay.
At which point you can hear another one coming down the pipe. Walking down. And as it gets closer, you see one kind of like standing up. It's hunched and it has over its shoulder, it has this like flat looking, almost like a paddle. Like a cricket bat is what it looks like. And it's pretty ornate, like carved and everything, and the handle is wrapped multiple times, and as he comes down the line, it's just like, die now. My name on.
I'm looking for metal, and also the crossbow. I will trade with you.
What's a crossbow?
That thing that little peckerhead stole.
He's like looking around.
Oh no.
Can't see me either, he's invisible.
But if you could find me metal in the walls, I will trade you this. And I hold up my drum and I go, dum dum.
Oh.
The other one looks at, the one stands up and he kind of like shoves him down. Drum.
Dum dum.
He's like staring at you. Which way? Which way will be?
Yeah. If you could find metal in the walls, give this to you.
You'll try to Gigi.
What?
I'll get Gigi for you.
He's gonna give you some money.
Okay.
You give me food. I'll give you Gigi.
He doesn't have any food.
We're both out of food.
I don't have food. You ate all my food.
Did you bring any food?
Yeah, he did. His fleshy hide.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Actually, last night I
I
did
have-
stash away one of the fruit.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna use it, and then I didn't. 'Cause I forgot.
You got food?
I have honey.
Challah?
Yeah.
What's challah?
It's sweet, and you put it on bread, and you put it on everything.
Rup rup. He kind of like turns around. He's like, "Dun."
It's a edible lump.
Soft.
I have to pee really bad.
Oh.
You want to take a quick break?
It is the
Oh, it's
time.
All
past
right,
break
we
time.
will take a quick.
Yes.
We're gonna take a quick break. We will be right back, guys.
Let bladders empty.
We're gonna grab some Fuji's restroom and everything. If you're enjoying, please hang out. Kiso, thanks for hanging out in the chat with us. We'll be right back, Lenny. So let me slide out of frame here and try to grab this one.
Is it picking up?
Our live.
Hello.
Hey everybody, we're back after a brief message from our non-sponsors.
our bathroom.
Let me slow
If
down.
you'd like to sponsor us,
If you
please.
get leg cramps like I do.
Then stand up.
Yeah.
So,
Jesus.
yes, you should always stand up.
Or just
Here
don't
you go.
ever stand up.
Ever.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Oh man, nipples are hurting. So, when last we left our band of adventurers, 2 of them were making paper. Go through the process.
Very exciting adventure.
Actually, if you want real quick to make some intelligence check.
Alright, what was that? Just a straight intelligence?
Or actually,
Counting speed?
history check. You make history.
Oh.
Trying to remember
history?
something.
You historians?
Oh my goodness,
that?
you sold 200 biddies! Sir, if you'd like to choose a character of your choice to get a D4 to a
wow, 21.
saving throw, then please go ahead and pick who you want. Anybody of your choice, sir?
Ideally.
My
Put it
hero!
on. Put it on that side.
On that side, the side
We
that's
don't need it. We really don't need it.
It's
over
true.
there.
I'm gonna get fucking eaten.
I have amazing stats, so I don't.
As long as it's not
21.
intelligence.
As you guys have been
Charisma.
maneuvering through, you've enlisted the help of
As long as
your
I'm
URA
not
companion,
gonna
are either
be
skilled
I'm
in
good.
sleight of hand or dex in general. Good at dex in general.
I mean, how do you determine that?
High dex score. Modifier.
A high
Plus
dex
3?
score or
Plus 3 for
proficiency.
modifier. That's actually not bad.
Okay.
I need you to make.
Mine's only a +1.
I need you to make a survival check using your dexterity modifier instead of your wisdom, please.
It's like 3 times better than a commoner.
11. Yeah, allow it. You have to cut after you cut the tops and the ends off both sides of the reeds. You get them all in the same uniform size. You undo them and you begin to peel them in rows, and you try to get it as thin as possible. With the 10, it's going to come out varied, but it's not going to necessarily impact it. But once you get all those, you got to lay them out in strips. You begin laying them out in strips, and with the help of Yana, she begins pushing
I
the
will watch
water
your
out
hands.
of them.
Oh, I'm good at that.
Yeah, so she's gonna push the water out of them. Then you bring the ends together, and you basically make a weave. You know, like a basket weave of all the ends, and they're all different. And then you press the water out of this one, and then you basically put like a hard rock over the. You put them on like the piece of wood, the flat side of the wood, and then you put a rock over top of it, and you gotta leave it there for like 6 days. Okay, so-
Quick question too for her. Do you have the berries or
Fruit.
just the dream fruit?
Yep.
Can I make ink out of the dream fruit? Like this stuff?
No, its color varies, so you wouldn't really be able to pick it.
Everything's
That makes sense.
Um,
It's actually like a clear liquid that
Yeah.
Yeah.
spews out of it.
If you're looking for color, I'd recommend leaves from trees.
Can we go out and get those two then?
Or
So I
bugs.
can make some ink.
You guys go out and
Or
survival.
insects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Survival.
We'll do
Both.
both.
Both of you can make survival checks to go find,
Here you
tip
go.
over things and find
I'm the only
insects.
one
Unless I take it. We'll use the green one since we're doing. What am I doing?
Just see if you can find
Survival.
That's a 17.
Because you're gonna collect.
Oh,
you're
wow,
gonna,
mine's a 15.
you're gonna both. Yeah, you both go out and you collect a number of different insects that you think would work. Tree items from trees and all kinds of things. You pull out some of the colored
So-
leaves, like oh,
That's
those
what I'm
ones are
looking
red.
for. Yeah.
Can I begin that process of doing that?
Yeah, trying to create like an ink.
Yeah, you're gonna be sitting there.
You know-
So my plan, if you were trying to make a colored liquid that was thick enough to stain, would be to heat water over a fire and take some of these and put them into the water, crush them, and then boil it down until there's very little water left.
Man, just Tinsley, you had all the empty vials. Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
well, no, but you need a way to make ink because you're leaving with your ink, I assume. So you need to teach Kusu how to make ink.
Oh, okay. What is she doing?
Meat's
right
back
now?
on our menu.
Studies.
Oh, sorry.
Researching.
Can I do
Oh, sorry, that was me.
Educated.
Do you think it'd be a good time to bother her right now?
Sure. Anytime is a fine time to bother people.
We don't do anything.
Okay.
Bother.
Can I go? I would like to go over to Kuzu then and have her come over.
Okay. Yeah. You using the directions from Yana, you make your way through the village. You get lost a little bit, but you ask a couple.
I'm gonna
people.
tend to our tinctures.
Oh, are we back at your house? doing
Yeah.
stuff? Okay.
Yeah. You
Where the
using
children
the right
behaved?
direction.
Even that boy.
Yeah, they're
Oh, and
he's outnumbered.
If
So-
the, yeah.
He probably was actively trying to be
Yeah.
insane.
So when I get home, I'm gonna give them some free time now that I'm back, and I'm gonna grab Bib,
Mm-hmm.
look him in the eyes, I'm gonna smile, and then I'm gonna touch his shirt and cast light on it, and send him outside and be like, when that goes out, come home, and then send him out.
Runs off into the
When the
field.
street lights go, come on.
When the Bib light goes out.
Go. Team vote for who needs the thing. BT dubs.
I feel
Well,
like
you don't
Raw
want to pick
has been
somebody?
either one of those two or Raw.
Here's how you can pick one of us. We won't hate
Yeah,
you.
I'm not gonna
My vote is Raw right now.
hate you.
Kind of injured.
Yeah.
So, yeah, easy enough.
Yeah, but I can fix
he
that.
goes out and they begin playing.
So
You ask a couple villagers. They look at you.
Yeah,
where
but
are
you
you?
don't have spirit
Oh, is that
of
way-
Well, I'll give her directions to where it is, and then
Don't,
I'm gonna
but I
stay
have
home
ranged
and
deals
mine
and a
some
unicorn.
plots that we're
Working
working
on.
with. Yeah.
Oh.
But you run over to the house of Kuzu. She perks up as you come in,
No, you don't.
runs over to you, instinctively carrying her little wood slats. She stares at you.
Give me back.
I was honestly
Well,
confused
what do you
with
mean?
looking more.
Well, I was gonna teach you how to make ink and then.
She kind of like puts down. She grabs the tablet. You notice that she's been writing about you, and then she grabs a blank one, and then she.
And then I can explain the process of paper. Because we've started.
Let's go then.
Okay. And we leave.
She follows behind you, closes the
Well,
door.
while we're walking, I'll explain how we made the paper.
She's like carving it in as you walk in.
Okay.
There's a couple moments where you think she's gonna like step on a rock and like kind of like slip. She just dodges around artfully.
Nice.
So you guys make your way back to begin that process. You three, you're currently being blocked in the path. So you have the path you came in at, which goes into a that is dark abyss.
What the fuck?
This is where the
I
little
thought that was a
rickshaw looking thing was at. You guys are currently in here. Okay, and you have what appears to be a green goblin there. One here, and one is currently that you know of is invisible, running around on the inside with his little thing wrapped around there. So, what are you guys doing?
So they're asking for fruit for trade.
Specifically, they're asking for food for trade. Like,
Oh, him?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They want the URI.
I saw him and go,
They want you noms.
oh.
They want to eat him.
I'm sorry, but I'm really hungry. And food kind of walked in here. They want to eat you, but I want to eat them. So,
Are we doing this?
do you need a bow?
I've got a bow. I've got a short bow.
I'm gonna
No.
drop that on the ground. Pull out my flail. My axe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go into a rage and fucking go after the big one.
Oh no.
Okay, so you run down the middle here.
Yep.
Let me go ahead and get out the things here. Everyone can go ahead and roll initiative.
Should we roll initiative against the ink? We're trying to
Yes.
because we're dealing with some stuff
No,
over
you have a
here.
windy path. I'm the one keeping this stuff from boiling over.
That's true.
Oh man.
Wait,
That's a bad way to start, by the way.
Let's just do it.
Okay, no, I narrowly escaped being burned by a bubble.
It's a natural
no.
20 hit you.
Yeah.
So, as you just so to narrate the beginning of it, as you go, and you kind of like enter that state, you can see this black flame kind of, for a moment, this light that kind of extends outward, and as your eyes light up and you dart forward to start your run, the creature that's standing next to you, invisible, just goes to the side
Oh my god.
as you run past.
Is that
Opportunity
sneak
attack.
Yeah.
It's an
Jeez.
opportunity attack.
Yeah.
Which reveals
Surprise attack. That's right.
which reveals him here. And you can all see this one's not holding a crossbow, so it's not the same one. But that is his turn. Real quick, let me go ahead and get the
DiMaggio.
I want to do a
Oh no.
hourglass. Oh
Not
2,
no!
6, 10,
Is that
13,
damage?
15 in half to 7. 7 damage as he reaches out and shanks you as you run by.
Good boy.
All right. So now let's go ahead and get the initiative going here. Monsters. All right, the monster is 25-20.
Oh, I didn't bring my hat. I'll bring it next time.
Oh, you're with
Okay.
the goblin?
15-20.
Fitting.
13.
Come on.
Wait, no, never mind.
Yeah.
You can go next.
10 to 15.
13.
11.
13 and 11. Okay. And Rashida's at 11. Okay, so the enemies go first. As you again, as you run forward, so your charge is still going to go off.
Good boy, kid.
So you're still booking it, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Because I
Going
will.
towards the big guy.
I'm going to allow
with his
that to
stick.
go down. Oh, jeez, that's so weird.
Please.
You begin running forward. You two are standing there. All right, it is their turn. They're going to go first, sir.
She's going back.
Oh my god, he's only at 3 health.
Are you at 3 health?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He fucking drank that shit.
Adventure.
13.
Also. patterns.
That is a 20 to hit, sir.
I don't think that hits.
I know what you're doing.
Actually, though, that might be good for you. That's 5 damage.
I know what you're doing right now.
Cool. I'm out.
You're unconscious.
I have 3 health.
Yeah.
As
That was a
you
joke.
No.
as you drop, the one that currently has a crossbow in his one hand and he has a little stone dagger in the other hand, which just shanks you in the side for a hole. So you get stuck and you're like, what the? Because you see the other one pop up, so you're like, oh, that one's the one, and then you collapse over to the side, start going unconscious as he's like, I found you! He has a crossbow in one hand and a little stone knife in the other, and he's like,
Are you going to use all your spells, your druid spells to heal him?
So, that is the end of
Don't waste your time.
that one's turn. The other one that you see that appeared that stabbed him, it turns around towards you. And it just turns around and tries to jump on you.
Meanwhile, like, that's what it was.
Wow.
Oh my god. Go ahead and make an athletics or an acrobatics check, sir.
Well, you said, oh my god, so I
That's
feel
the
like that is going to be 15.
15. He rolled a 21, sir.
Figure.
As he jumps up and he wraps himself around you. And just grabs onto you. He's holding onto you.
Bites you.
TPK.
Yeah.
No, we're fine.
Alright, so the next one is going to you blocked him in the you blocked him in the pathway there, and he's just kind of like, and he's not really any bigger than the ones next to him. He's just standing up like he's not trying to hide, like he's like, fuck it, I don't need to. And he's like, you want to fight me? Fight me! And he brings the club down, and as he does, you hear him say, light! And it just erupts in flame. This wooden bat just streaks through the air on fire.
That doesn't seem right. I light my own weapons on fire.
That's
They are literally the stuff of nightmares.
Say God.
That's true.
I just want to point that out.
2 to hit. As you bring it down, it just goes, and you feel the heat come off it, but you're accustomed to it. And you don't actually see any flames, which is the weirdest part. It seems to be red light that seems to be coming in the pattern as he swings down past it and punches that thing. It was alright, actually. Fine.
Give it a minute.
Okay. That is the end of his turn. The one behind him, however, looks at you, and you see him kind of like bring his hands up, and he's like, at which point it begins to echo around your head. And you start to become, like, trying to figure out where it's coming from. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
So we gave our saving throw one.
Natural 20.
Natural
Guy that's
20.
unconscious.
You
Yep.
take...
Can you use that for death?
Okay,
And
you take no damage.
Saving
However,
throw.
you are incapable of moving.
That's
Your
helpful
speed is
for him.
dropped to 0. So, on your turn, you can't maneuver. As you do, you begin to hear like this like echoing, and it almost looks like the almost like the air is moving. You know, like a weird film is kind of like distracting. That is the end of its turn. That is all 4 of their turns, I believe. So, next up is you're
He's
up.
not bigger than me, is he?
Nope, he
I didn't
is
think so.
small as well.
I'm going to bring this party.
Okay.
And I'm going to recklessly attack him with both my attacks.
Okay, go ahead.
That is a 25 for
Hits.
the first one.
That hits.
And a 14 for the second.
14 just barely hits.
So that is 1d6. 1d6. Okay. Ten with 1 radiant damage, so 11 altogether.
Okay. 11 altogether. Cool. So, as you bring both weapons around, you still feel like you can't get anywhere. It's almost like this strange mystic energy is preventing you from moving, so you just instinctively bring the flail out. It goes to block with the wooden bat that kind of buffets into it and bounces off it. It parries it almost like defensively as you take a swipe. It just leaps back and you still manage to cut across the front of it. And it's kind of like defiantly at you. That is the end of your turn, sir. Next up is Luca.
Right, so he's on me.
Yep,
biting me,
he is
grappling?
he is grappling you right now.
Okay, and to break that, it would take an action.
Correct.
Okay, then I will use my bonus action to throw down a unicorn totem
Okay, where?
on this spot,
Sure.
which would
We're
give
gonna
me
put
15 feet to him and 15 feet to our currently unconscious friend.
okay, and they have to walk through it in order to heal themselves.
No, whenever I cast a healing spell that requires a spell slot, I can give them help. And I also have advantage to detect creatures in that zone.
Okay.
So as long as they're in it, they're fine. But otherwise,
Yeah, hidden enemies they get.
Okay.
and then I will use my action to attempt to break free.
Okay. Go ahead and make a contested athletics check, please.
9?
No, unfortunately, as he rolled a 10.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, with modifiers, he got a 10. So as you try to shake free, he's just like, kind of like freaking you out, staying in your. But before then, you bring both your hands up, and this little fucking wooden totem pops up. And there's a little transparent unicorn, boop, kind of like spinning on top, like a little.
Yay.
Little carousel.
it makes me think of that pickaxe from Fortnite,
Mm-hmm.
that unicorn one that they have. That's
Oh,
all I
yeah.
can think of.
I imagine actually it kind of like forms from the stones. If you do have like mold stone, it turns like a stone totem, and then on top like this glowing little unicorn is kind of like neighing.
Cool.
Place. So that is the end of your turn, sir. Mr. Rashid, I'm going to need you to make a death saving throw. 7.
Mhm.
What do you
Plus your
use?
con modifier, which is negative. So 7, because you can't go below.
Wait, can,
Oh, okay,
can
good.
you use that
Well,
thing? Can you use
No, it's a d20 plus 1.
Right. So it's plus 1. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're fine.
so
So
it's
it's 8, but still,
It's still
that is
good.
1 failure.
But can you use the thing from you as well?
So you want to play
I
shade?
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody, you guys voted, right? You guys want to vote for it? All right,
Give
go
it to
ahead and
him.
roll a d4 to add to it.
If you want to.
If you want to. It's
I
up to
mean,
you.
7, 8, 9, 10. I need at least a 3 to
You
bring
need a
it
2.
to.
You
Because
need
it's 7
need
plus
to.
1.
7 plus 1, yeah.
So 2, 4, 2,
2, 3, or 4.
Roll
So just don't roll a 1.
Roll 1. Alright, I rolled.
All right, so you have 1 success. Sir. All right, so that is the end of your turn. It is now the monster's turn. And this is very important, and I need everybody to pay attention very carefully. The minute that one on the side there enters your peripheral, it goes invisible. Not as an action, not as a bonus action.
Yeah.
If it enters your peripheral, it immediately turns invisible.
Okay.
So it's gone. Because I don't want to repeat that for later. Because that's about to apply to you, because when he steps into your periph, he goes invisible. That is their natural ability. So, you are still grappled. That one vanishes the minute he walks past you out of your side. He's gone. The one that's in front of you, as he steps around you, he's gone as well. Okay, that being said, they're going to take their turns now. So, this one is going around to you, which he reappears. And he grapples you as well. Woo! You are now restrained. Neat. It's because you're delicious. So they grab onto you. You see two of them now, kind of grabbing onto him, oh, got him! That is the end of this one right here.
If I may.
Yes. You just hear Lucas screaming.
War cry.
Just in the back. So the one that was in front of you, the one that did his weird little hand wiggling, he approaches you from the front, seemingly a little bit braver now that he's seen that you seem to be stuck in his thing.
He has advantage.
What? Oh, right, because of your thing.
Reckless.
Yeah. Okay. He is going to attack. He does not have a weapon, but he does have 16, 17, 18. I'm sorry, 21 to hit.
Okay.
Thanks. That is 5 points of slashing damage, halved to 2. So as he kind of he moves up closer, and then he just kind of goes, ugh, and lays both of his little claws into you and scratches it on the front. And he's like, and then kind of looking at what he did, he lifts his hands and he's like, oh, suck. Ah, fuck. So that is the end of that one's turn. However, the one with the bat is going to attempt to attack you. And advantage. 17 plus 7 to hit.
Jesus, 24.
24. Alright, he is going to do with his club. 4 plus 1 is 5 damage. Plus 2 fire. Plus 4 fire, so 6 fire, half to 3. And then 5, half to 2 for his bludgeoning. As he brings this bat.
5 damage.
So as he both of his hands above his head, he's like, blunk, and just kind of bonks you on the top of the head. You can feel the heat radiating off from it, but just kind of blink. And he's just like, okay. And he reappears obviously right next to you, or behind you.
I can't turn around, can I?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You just can't move. And actually, now that round's over, you actually can't move. No one redid the ability. All right, that is the end of their turn. Zongik, you're up, sir.
I'm going to swing wide with the flail to connect with the big guy, and then swing around the axe for the small guy.
Okay, go ahead and make your attack roll, sir.
Still at reckless.
Yep, go ahead.
Whoa. First one is a 13.
13 to the big guy?
Yeah.
Hits.
Next one is a 16.
16 also hits.
The small guy. Okay, so big guy. So 11 bludgeoning damage and 5 radiant.
Okay. 11 plus 5, 16.
That's the big guy.
Yep. And then the little guy gets 4.
Gets 4.
Slashing.
Yeah.
36. Okay, so you bring the wide end of the mace around, and as you do, as it catches the air, you can kind of see it. It skitters off the stone wall, being so close, and as it does, it kind of begins to light up. for a moment, and then it bats in the side of him, and as it does, he's kind of like, "Ah!" He just gets knocked over to the side, and almost drops the bat from it, and he's just like, you see blood pouring out from the front of his face, and he's just like,
I get pissed with some rage.
as he seems beat up and he seems fucked up. The other one, as he's kind of like, you just cut him right in the face, and he's like,
Because I don't have
Oh.
2-weapon fighting, I don't get the bonus to my offhand.
So yeah, the one with the bat seems to be relatively messed up. The other one seems fine. He just seems to be like freaking out.
No, the guy with the bat.
Oh,
Just pouring blood out of his mouth.
I thought you said were like. You
Not burger
like, what
all
do
over
I
your
have?
face.
All over. Just
Why didn't you
Alright.
tell me before?
that is
'Cause
the
it
end
was
of his turn. You're up, sir.
All right.
Funny thing
Still
is, I went
freaking
cut myself in the
Yep,
ear.
still freaking
Like one.
out. You cannot cast spells that require somatic components while you are restrained, because you're restrained, which means you're like literally held up. So if it requires vocal, then you can do it. Material, you cannot do unless it has.
Step.
No S's.
What if it is a thing from being who you are?
Is it a spell-like effect? You still require to do vocal and somatic components
If you are.
if you are a.
I hate you.
That's my proud.
Yes.
Yeah, it still has VSM. So I can only do vocal.
Or
Yes.
material.
All right, then I will use my bonus action to cast Healing Word on him.
Okay. Which gives him. Does he get both the totem and your healing?
Yes.
Cool.
Nice.
Imagine you're just being like, what? As you're being over.
2 + 3 for 5.
So you regain 5 health,
Yeah.
Plus,
and then you get an additional
I want to say 3.
3.
Because I'm pretty sure it's just what my level is. Yeah.
Then does he get 3 as well?
Yeah, you both get 3.
So you get 3 as well.
Nice.
Oh, to totems. Bringing in that World of Warcraft totem.
I was
Send
gonna
it
say,
down.
Dead by Daylight taught me to break those.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, run around and kick them.
Yeah.
I like that
You
game.
usually get murdered while you're doing it. It's a completely different game now.
Is it?
If you haven't played it in a while,
I have not.
Is it better?
I'd say it's better, but it's completely different than what you're used to. Also, Nurse is broken.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. Anyway, so
No, worse.
you are you're up
Freddy's
as
not
well
broken.
as you're still prone, by the way. You still have to stand up. However, but you also feel as your what are you doing for your actions there?
Magic.
I'd like to try it right now.
Okay, make a contested athletics check.
80% off.
That is 13.
No, 17.
You want me to get back?
They're gonna be an advantage
Yes.
because there's 2 of them. But as you try to shake free, you see you almost like dislodge one of them, and then he kind of like sticks to you as he's grabbing onto you, and the other one's like holding your hands, trying to pants you. No. But they kind of hold you in place.
He wants to get to those sweetmeats.
That's mine. So that is the end of Lucas' turn as he begins to try to shake free and he can't seem to do it. So he's like, and that sound begins to permeate and then generate as the whole chamber begins to light up for a moment, and it activates the totem. At which point you feel this healing energy surge through both you and you are awake. Make a. What's your passive deception? 10 plus your deception modifier if you, whatever your.
19.
Nice.
Okay.
Jesus.
Nobody seems to notice that you've gotten up. So that is the end of his turn. You are up, sir. So what are you doing? No one seems to be aware right now that you are alive. They think you're still on the ground. You just hear crying echoing through this chamber.
Then I will stand up.
Is that in a movie?
Okay. Kind of spring to your feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't see that guy, right? Because he's in my peripheral.
No, he is actively doing something.
Okay.
They can't be doing stuff in order for it to work.
Okay, gotcha.
Kind of like
And
warlocks.
that takes half my movement to stand up, right?
Yep, 15.
I get Timo. So you have enough room to reach the one near you.
Yeah, you can get to either one of them actually.
I'm gonna attempt.
Who's a D12?
That's
The
big
D12 is
guy.
a totem.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a totem. Oh, okay.
That's where the little
Yeah,
healing
attempt
totem is.
to stab the guy on the back end.
Okay, so you instinctively leap up. Go ahead and make your attack at advantage there, because he does not know you're there.
22.
22 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
The sneak.
Oh, yeah. What is sneak attack? do?
At
2d6?
3, it's
Still
2d6.
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 That's still weird. 16, 19, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14.
14 damage.
Rogues, man.
So as you kind of like look around, you take stock for a minute, you spring to your feet very quickly, and you take the rapier and you kind of like keep it low out of sight as you move around. You see them both kind of like holding on to him. They seem to be kind of like chittering back and forth in a language you don't understand. As you sink the blade in through the side, you just kind of see them go cry out in pain. That is the end of your turn. Top of the round, it is the enemy's turn. This one is going to sidestep, and you notice. Oh, well, hold on. This one does not go into when he steps around. So it seems to be an ability that he does not have. But he steps around to the side, and he's going to attempt to attack you at advantage because you're reckless. 24 to hit.
Yes.
That's 2 points of half to Uno as he brings his claws out. He's like, and just starts like doing this.
You say tickle fight?
Maybe. Who knows? But he's just like
They are
clawing
very
at you. You get a couple little scratches, and you're like,
I'm just going to...
he's like, panicking. That is the end of his turn. This one, however, steps behind you, vanishes for a moment, which doesn't really apply because you already give him advantage, but he vanishes for a minute as he brings the club around to the side. 23 to hit for that one. That is 4 points of bludgeoning damage, half to 2, and then it's going to be 4 points of fire damage, half to 2. So you take 4 damage total. As he brings it down, you see the light kind of gleaming off it very angrily as he reappears and then bats you in the side of your nugget. Just,
Are you resistant to fire?
Yeah.
yes.
Because of...
He's a magma kin.
How long does it take us to do the ink thing?
To
Several
make it.
I know you're busy over here.
Well, they've been
Fighting
traveling
stuff.
for hours, so you're gonna have time to like
Okay.
get it set. Yeah.
Okay, so then.
And they might all die, so we have all the time in the world.
So like,
Literally.
well, it's definitely a couple seconds of stuff going on. So like,
Well, somewhat.
did they tell her where they were going at all?
They told both of you.
Yeah,
They said they were looking for caves.
Did it
Yeah.
seem like they've been gone at a normal amount of time?
By this point, as you look up, yeah, they've been gone for a hot minute.
Should we go check to see where they've gone? Maybe.
Do you know where they went?
Did they tell you?
Yes. They told both of you. As you were
Okay,
walking by, they
They
told
told
both.
you. I didn't know this.
You thumbed up. You gave them a
Oh,
thumbs
yeah,
up.
that's
They
right,
said they were
that's
going to go look for caves.
Okay. So which way would be the? Could you lead me to the caves?
No. I have 3 children. Do you think I spend time in caves? That's how you die. Ask our compatriot.
Where is the caves?
Kusu won't know. Nish would know.
She kind of like thumbs. She thumbs over her shoulder, but she's thumbing back to the village, like not in any direction. She's just like,
No. Kusu studies things. Nish spent time outside of the village. If you want to talk to somebody, talk to Nish.
okay. So you begin walking through. It's going to take you a minute.
Yeah.
All right.
While she starts to head back to the village, I'm going to set out fruits for the kids on the table. Set them out on their plates,
Right. Yeah.
as they are. And just go, if they're stupid, they'll die. And then
Didn't run out.
mother's platitude.
Right.
Oh, wait, no, I'll go outside and ring the dinner bell that I clearly had, because
Yeah,
of course I have a dinner bell.
Okay, because your son's outside.
You just
Yeah.
dum dum
They all
dum. You just
Oh,
like
they're on?
basically
Yeah.
rap like a
I
little
lit
fucking
him up.
drum.
Oh, yeah.
So they could all go play.
Okay.
And told them when this light goes out.
You just have,
Okay.
Has it
like,
been an hour?
yeah. They,
Okay, then
they're
they're
on
gonna
their
come
way.
back.
You see them. You actually probably would see them coming back.
You
Go
probably
out to
are
ring-
ringing it
I
as
go
they're
out to
coming
ring the
back,
bell
yeah.
and go. Yeah.
There's no bell.
Perfect.
You're gonna knock on the side of the thing with
I mean, a wooden bell, like a chime.
Oh yeah, wind
clunk
chime.
clunk clunk.
Yeah.
Boom 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 boom. Yeah. So you see them coming back already as you go, and you're like,
We'll find them.
eat food.
Come on, stay inside, lock the house. I'll be back.
They're like, oh, okay.
You're gonna come too.
So you guys all head across. Kusa kind of following along confusedly. for their little plop. You guys. So that was the big guy. He threw that one at you. The other one scratched you. Now it's the two stalkers' turn.
Sorry. I'm a child.
In the midnight showers again.
Yeah, I just imagine them peeking into somebody's room like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you eat that sandwich.
Well, how do they do it in Goblin though?
Sandwich.
Sandwich. That's universal. 'Cause goblins didn't make the sandwich.
Pegasus, a word I understand in all languages.
Both of them, as the blade gets run through the one, both of them let you go instinctively, almost in like a panic, and you find yourself standing there for a minute, and then they both run and go invisible as they disappear. This one runs this way. This one runs this way.
Well, all right. So, do they only go invisible in somebody's peripheral, or do they go invisible whenever they want?
They go invisible when they're in someone's peripheral. It doesn't matter whose peripheral.
All right. So,
So-
if even if he can see both of them, if they enter my peripheral,
They can go invisible.
got it.
As long as they are flanking is the term, then they are invisible. End of thing.
Got it.
And
Tracking. No, I got it.
So they both, and as their little footprints fade out, and you don't hear anything, and that is the end of their turn.
Seems overpowered. I think it needs to be balanced.
So that is the end of their turn. Top of the round. It is. No, I'm sorry. Next up is Zongak.
Doing another arc.
Big guy first, and then little guy. Okay.
Reckless again.
All right.
Because I'm not learning my lesson.
Fair enough.
Trying to make sure it's down.
That is a 17.
17 hit the big guy. Hits.
Yep.
And a
17 for the second guy.
17 for second guy also hits.
Ooh. 6 plus 6, that's 12. 15 for the big guy.
15 damage.
3 radiant.
Okay.
And then for the little guy, 1.
1 damage.
Yeah, I scratched him back.
Take that.
I just look at him and go,
As you bring the large end of the flail around, it catches the thing and you begin to see it light up again for a moment, and then it catches him right in the side of the head and basically smashes it in and breaks across the side of it. You see his head into bits, and he crumples to the floor, and his like blue little form begins twitching. That is the end of your turn.
neat.
It is now Luca's turn.
First, bonus action. I will cast a healing word on Zongak.
Okay,
And with them both being in
30 feet. Yeah.
30 feet, you get 4.
4 health back,
Natural
Plus
1.
3.
Plus 3. So you get 7.
and you get 3 more.
And then, for my action, I'm going to use my Uari magic to cast Sleep.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it right there-ish. 'cause I
Okay.
saw both of them go that way.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what happens.
Okay.
Let's watch Rashid drop.
Starting with the person at lowest health first, correct?
Yes.
That is Rashid.
And then goes up in ascending order.
Okay, so how much? What's the total?
That's 6, 3, 9. Man, there's so many numbers.
Math.
20.
20 health. How much health do you have left?
11.
11. You just slowly start to get down, and then you, as this peaceful, almost lullaby begins to kind of like seep in through your head. You can hear it too. What? How much health do you have left?
20.
20. You're the next one that gets affected.
Wow.
As it feeds in, you begin to,
Fuck. Jesus.
but you're still awake. So that is the end of your turn.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Anything else you want to do?
No, I can't do anything.
Okay.
That was
Move,
an
or do you
action.
want to reposition or anything?
Fuck no!
Okay. There you go.
I watched
Um,
both of them
stabbed.
get stabbed.
You are asleep, sir. That is the end of your turn. So at the end of your turn, top of the round,
I like to think I'm helping Rashid learn to
It is
never,
the enemy's
ever
turn.
make Constitution a dump stat.
I'm so good at
Um,
that though.
It'll be
Not
his
really
main
just you.
stat forever.
the one that's sitting next to you, the little one, you see his little hand go, and he grabs the bat off the floor, and he's like looking at you, still like dragging it towards him. I'm gonna go Gigi. And he runs
Dude, I
off.
want me Gigi.
He's gonna use his action to disengage. And he sprints off down the hall.
Gigi's a name.
He runs.
Are they on alone?
As far as they know, they are alone. However,
As soon as they think that,
Gigi bursts
an
the wall.
ogre
Alrighty.
always
that is the end of that one. Let's see here. What are they gonna do?
have a lemonade and
They're
relax.
good. Yeah, they're tired.
I mean, I
Nice
thought they were
little lie down,
tired,
short
but
rest.
apparently getting stabbed in the side did not do nearly as much damage to them as I had hoped it did.
Okay. That's all that happens.
For
You just
now.
hear a little guy. It fades out pretty quickly as he runs down the
What's
hall.
he do?
He's just yelling, running. What are you guys doing? You're still asleep?
I'm going to
Napping.
use an action to try and see if I can't perceive if the little fuckers are within my totem.
Okay. Go ahead and make your perception check, sir.
That is 20.
20 to see them.
Yes.
As you look around, you take a minute, you pause, you feel the pulse from the totem.
I'm checking to see this.
You do not immediately see anything. It gives you advantage on seeing them if they're invisible, correct? Hidden?
Detecting.
Detecting them? Okay.
So whatever I would use to see them.
Just wanted to make sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're fine. So, looking around.
And then a bonus action, try to wake him.
Okay, so you just plop over. Give him a little. You're doing that.
Friendly kicking the balls.
Little schnoz. Sniffing you. And you are woken up.
No.
No.
Yeah, I am.
Just
What you doing there, buddy?
My food ran away with a magic stick,
you still have to take them.
but not the magic stick. I chase after him.
All right. You're gonna use your you're gonna run after him.
Yeah.
Well, for the sake of this, and he has a head start on you.
If I could see his back, I'm going to huck one of my.
I'll give you one opportunity to seize everything
One
you ever
shot.
wanted. So you'll get a single attack roll to see if you can. Because he is familiar with the terrain and he is running from you. You know, so he knows where he's going and you have no idea. So you're just basically following him down. And you remember that there's holes in the walls that they were climbing through, which is presumably how they got there in the first place. So you're gonna get one shot to like fucking try to stop him. Otherwise, we'll end the chase there. So if you'd like to make your axe, or if you want to try something else, fucking bola that motherfucker or something, that's up to you.
Do I have anything to bolo?
Maybe when you get back to town.
What are we?
Oh, hey over there.
Oh, hi.
Well, hold on. Let me just let him do his thing and then we'll switch.
Yeah.
We'll actually
Okay.
switch because they're gonna be in the dark.
I'm going to wing depth at him, but as I do it, I'm going to say Karaka so it extends.
Okay. Make your attack roll at disadvantage.
I'm going to do reckless.
Okay, so you cancel it out to try to throw it to 30.
Ooh. That is a 24.
Nice.
24 hits. All right.
He's
we're
one
gonna-
fit.
Jesus.
Let's see if we can keep his shit together. He rolled an 18 to try to like keep his footing and not eat shit and go. But let's have him do strength saving throw. Yeah. Okay. So as you throw it, it hits. So you can go ahead and roll damage. That'll be a solid strike on there.
Yeah, it is. Fuck. Alright, that's 12. That's 18 points of damage.
Oh,
18. Nice.
jeez.
Okay, so a solid hit. As it hits him, the chain begins to kind of fold over itself and almost wrap him up. But in like a last panic kind of effort, he pushes himself off the wall. The thing falls and he almost trips on it on the way over. And you see him trying to maintain a grip on the bat, and he's kind of like, and almost drops it a couple times, but he manages to keep it and sprints off the direction that you came. So, fortunately, he did not die. And he also seemed to roll really well on his escape, so he is still running. He's out for now. So that is the end of combat. As you guys sit there in the dark, contemplating things,
I assume you pick up your weapon.
you head over to, for the sake of brevity, I'll say that you guys head over to
Kuzu's.
Niche.
Oh, Niche.
You speak with her for a moment. She's just as guarded. She seems to address mostly the two other Uari.
I'm looking at the ground.
She points you in the same direction that she pointed the others. She said she doesn't remember how long they asked, but you know.
Fine, whatever. I understand.
If you'd like to ask her to show you where they are, she can do that. You have to persuade her to do that, though. She's kind of not a fan of going outside of town anymore.
Well, I don't want to like put her in danger by having her go out. You said she doesn't give direction?
She does.
She does?
Yeah.
She readily gives you the directions. She
Yeah.
doesn't mind that.
I don't know.
She seems to be the only one who knows the area, though.
I mean, can I go offer directions and try to find it? Okay. Yeah, I want her to go.
If you wouldn't mind, would you at least show us to the place? We don't need you to accompany us inside. We just need to find them. They've been gone for a rather long time.
You see her kind of like mulling it over. There's like this definite, I don't know.
You can come back to town immediately after.
Make a persuasion check.
Sure.
Five.
If the answer is no, it's no. We'll just go out and fuck around.
Get you to the right direction. And she
Thank
kind of
you.
like
Leave us out of town.
shoulders the broom, and she takes you out. She takes you out actually surprisingly far, outside of town, down the main path a little bit that you guys traverse back and forth between a couple of the little smaller fields. She takes you out, at which point she kind of like points and she's like, "There, you go that way," and then
Thank you.
just around those two trees and there.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful.
Appreciate it.
And then she kind of like watches you for a minute, almost like defensively, before she begins kind of making her way back towards town. Kuzu had stayed at the entrance. She just kind of like stood. As you guys walked out, she was like,
Nope.
loading times kind of got her.
Oh no.
NPCs can't go outside there.
So you guys begin heading
No
towards
wings.
the cave system. Go ahead and make an advantage with both of you. Make a survival check.
Want me to make it?
No, I'll try.
You sure?
Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
what is it? What are we, survival?
Yep.
That's a 19.
Okay, so
I rolled
using
a
the
20
directions.
if that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So together, you guys using the
It's one of the
directions.
things I have.
You
Nice.
I'm proficient in survival.
you
Me too.
follow the path around and you begin making your way in the general direction. You do remember she said that there are perilous holes that you can fall into. So what do you guys want to do for that? What do you guys want to handle?
Not you.
How?
I'll keep a lookout.
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
I've
okay.
got my quarterstaff so I can push the grass away as we go.
So you begin kind of pushing the grass around as you go. You guys maneuver your way out. You catch the same scent that they did. You smell this like honey sweet smell, and you continue past it for now. But you can see the large flower glowing in the distance.
I'll get like a little distracted. Like I'm not gonna go off, but like I'll just like.
If you get distracted, I'm going to grab whatever
Yeah.
clothing you
I
have
think
and pull
that's-
you this
yeah.
way.
Right.
In the very mom fashion.
But
just, no.
exactly. I'll keep a mental note of that.
Okay. So looking around though, I
Next
need you
step
guys
is
to
to
make
get the cat
a
with quarter.
perception check, please.
Who? Perception?
Yeah, you two, both of you.
Oh wait. Oh, is that 10? No. Oh, that's fine.
Stuck in the corner there, huh?
Stuck really well.
10.
10.
And I believe my perception
Ooh.
makes that a 4.
Looking around, you stop a minute. You think you're in the right vicinity, but immediately you don't. Nothing really strikes you as sticking out, essentially. But you do know you're in the right area. It's
Can I
gonna
see
take a little bit longer to find it.
If can I like look to see if there's any like if it's messed up like they may have come through here.
Yeah, I could call
Yeah.
looking like the grass has been knocked down.
Yeah, make a perception check at advantage. At advantage. Doo, 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 doo.
Nice.
Fuck
Nice.
me. 6.
4 and a 6.
Well, you do see where that is. You just gotta follow it now. So it's not gonna be like
Okay.
readily apparent. You follow the path that they take, and it takes you a little bit longer.
Okay.
So we go back to you two. To you three. What are you guys doing?
I go get my weapon,
Okay, you go grab Deb.
and then
Shrink it. Boop boop boop. Okay.
I go back grab the dead one by the neck and drag it back.
Okay.
Pick up one of its hand and just bite a finger off.
Okay, make an athletics check.
Wow. Yeah.
Who wants to try
It's
it?
brutal. That chomp check.
Good.
25.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sink your little razor sharp
It's like a
teeth and it
blender.
separates
Yeah.
pretty quickly. A couple heavy crunches as it's getting, you get a little bone stuck in that. You pop it out. But ultimately it's stringy. It's kind of cold actually, surprisingly enough. Unlike you, they're not like necessarily warm. So it's a little cold, it's stringy, it's wet. Their blood doesn't taste the best. It doesn't taste coppery though, like you're used to. It tastes like a little off. But yeah, you just drag this one behind you and
And I just go, what's it up? Adventure!
So I'm gonna sit down.
Contemplate life
Throw
really
up.
hardly.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
Still haven't found Mellow.
Push my ears down.
Oh.
Also, I'm pretty sure they might be watching us.
To actively cry.
Oh.
I don't want an adventure.
Pickles don't cry.
I don't want an adventure.
that's a good point.
I don't want an adventure.
Are you still like holding your ear?
I'm
Yeah.
not.
Keep 'em closed.
I'm closing myself off.
Your totem is gonna
Yeah.
extinguish.
Yeah, it only lasts a minute.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sit here.
So sad.
I'm done with the
I
adventure.
quit.
And I'm just gonna cry.
Okay, excellent. Cry away.
Rock
Yeah,
back
cry
and
away.
forth. Rock back and forth.
You have my permission to cry.
Close myself off
The
from
free
the
action.
outside. I don't want an adventure. I don't want an adventure. I go home.
We'll look around for my crossbow. See if they made it drop it.
They did not actually. They haven't. It is now his
With no
Well,
bolts.
we'll
with
see.
no bolts because he shot it off and he doesn't know what it does. So he's like, sweet.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let me take that.
take that off the old list there.
Maybe we should head back.
I have a 62 hour. Yeah, I probably should.
I got meat.
You do have meat.
And honey.
I don't want an adventure.
Hey, we're leaving. We're going home.
Really?
Yes.
Don't worry, you're just like Gideon.
Not necessarily untrue.
Nobody kidding me.
He
Oh.
is the bravest
You know?
metal man I've seen.
So as you guys eventually
All this
find your way
was
to the
shot.
mouth of this cave, you find that it comes into these shelves that almost like it starts off
That's
like
how I
tall
got
up
this.
top, but like very little ground actually. And as you find your way inside, you dip down about 6 feet. These ledges are 5 to 6 feet tall. It actually requires you to like sit down.
Are is this like it's been dug out or is it naturally
No,
like
no,
this?
naturally occurring.
So can I look and see if there's any like veins in the walls that are going or?
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Yeah, better than the idiot.
Right here by the entrance.
Right.
There's a tungsten vein.
19. Looking around, no, nothing immediately strikes you, especially not here.
I was hoping for anybody else to roll higher than me.
You begin to take a couple more shelves before you find yourself at the bottom of this strange sort of ravine that exists here. This is the first time you've been down in something like this. You, at the distance you're currently at, you don't hear anybody. The sound of the cave is sort of
There's just one way at the moment, right?
Correct.
All right,
It's
let's
only one path at the moment.
I can't see.
What do you have on you?
Oh, I can get a torch, but I don't wanna.
What do you have on you?
What do you mean?
Like on your person? Do you have weapons? Do you have a
Yeah.
nice like
Stick.
belt?
Still dressed like a
something?
hole.
No,
Wanna
she's
die
in
here?
a dress.
That's right, she did.
She changed out of her
Horse attire.
Oh, did she?
because everybody thought me and her were a priest and a priestess.
Yeah.
Torches.
Gotta stop that.
And there was this guy named Mom
Wearing a
who
hat?
told us not to do that.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Ma doesn't remember that.
Wearing clothing though, right?
Oh, yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna do the same thing I did to Bib. I'm gonna grab her jacket and cast light on it.
When that turns
It
up,
lights up.
Go
and it
home.
kinda
Go to your world.
Wait.
over the front there.
Hmm?
Cascades out in
Yeah.
the area, and you can see these sort of naturally occurring rough cut sort of cave.
Okay.
You make your way down, and as you do, you guys are making your way out, correct?
I'm still dragging this.
trunk down, head down, ears drooped. dragging my stick.
Oh, I also pick up my morning star on the way out and attach it to something.
Fair enough. All right, so you guys make your way out. As you guys are moving further up the path, is there anything else you guys would like to do as you're walking? Because these guys are also walking. Make an investigation check.
That'd be good.
I'm be looking around for any signs of passage.
That's a 19.
19. Nothing strikes you. Not in this pathway. What were you saying, Jared?
I'm looking around for any signs of passage through here.
Yeah, actually, you see a lot of ground is disturbed. Multiple footprints that kind of overlap one
I'll
another.
look at this.
You see them stepping over rocks. You guys are now experiencing the same thing that they were. This sort of like weirdly, slowly descending, but it's it's occasionally rough terrain. You step over a couple rocks. Got to like kind of walk up at a weird angle. But ultimately, over the course of like the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you guys are slowly, essentially walking towards one another.
Yeah.
And as you finally come, you didn't leave at the same time, but by the time you guys find yourself at the intersection, you hear shuffling coming down from the way that you came. Are you guys talking at all?
Yeah.
You can see light casting out over weird directions, and you can hear some like talking. Are you're going to be in last marching order?
I would be
I
last.
figured we'd just
I'm
be
trying
having a
to
conversation
block
about
everybody from
what you
anything that
need,
comes after us.
what you're trying to do. Here.
Wait, no, we're at the
Between
intersection right
four,
now.
trying to explain what
So there's a path this way you guys haven't explored. Path this way is where you're coming from, and this is the way you came.
I'm back where we came. I'm just in the back. I would have
I'll be up front, yeah.
chunks in the middle.
They're gonna eat us.
Pretty much.
Do you hear that?
You can hear him, yeah. You can hear faint whimpering.
Just really
Crying.
loudly. I just want to go.
I know that crying. That's Luca.
Yeah.
Do you keep walking or do you
I
run now?
I pick up my face.
Okay, I'll pick up a piece as well. Oh no.
As you guys are, as you're standing there, I need. What are you guys passive perceptions?
Well, I picture. I don't know if you watched
What's what?
the first
15
Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
Michelangelo takes a big old Butterfinger, and he goes, and he eats it with his mouth open, and then they just beat the shit out. But anyway, that's what I'm doing.
You're the
With
first
fingers.
ones to hear in the distance. You hear this little.
They hear that?
Huh?
They hear that?
You guys don't, because you're not
Get
the
right.
right.
Yeah.
I'm starting to have one of those things.
what things?
Memories.
Uh-huh.
Remember the fat people
Yeah,
that I ate, Data skinned it,
yeah.
and how they came after us after we punched them in the face.
We should.
You're in
we should
front,
get out.
correct?
Yeah.
As you're in front, from behind, you hear this sort of shuffling, and you see you haven't seen this one yet, but as you do, you see what appears to be the same sort of gremlin, this ridged exterior, blue and teal, sort of almost veined, these yellow and green eyes. They kind of peer out from the darkness, and as it does, it's wearing like a makeshift hood, and almost like it's Uari robes, but they're over its shoulders, almost like a coat. He's wearing like this. The sleeves are dangling. Its hands are curled in like this. It has like these gnarled. It has like a big scar down the front of its face, and you notice it's actually wearing a glove, a sleeveless glove that glimmers faintly in the darkness, and it has like weird little like gemstones and little things. And as it crouches through the corner, it hits about 60 feet at the edge of your thing, and from down the hall you just hear.
To help my people? You're under the ground, Gigi?
He's on the other.
Yeah, you're in front currently, so you're the only one he can actually see right now.
Wait, how tall did you say you were?
Same height as a normal one, for small size. But it's like hunched over, and it has its like hands inwards, and it's wearing like this dramatic coat.
Does it have a staff? And
Nope.
sorry, I was just thinking of a cool
Just
jam.
like this.
I'm going to cast color spray.
Okay.
Directly at it.
You're like, I'm
Okay.
done with this.
I'm going to cry no, and then he'll turn into a giant wolf spider.
Okay.
And immediately scurry up the wall opposite.
Okay.
Wow, really? All the ones?
Aw, are you serious?
What does it do?
No, I see some
That's
twos.
12.
What's the sixes?
21. Okay. 60-10 total is how many hit points of creatures the spell can affect. Creatures in a 15-foot cone oriented from where you are in ascending order of the current hit points. What the hell is that?
Before you do that, though, he is 60 feet away.
He's at the edge of your base.
Oh, it's only 15 foot. Okay.
Yeah, he's at the. So do you want to wait? And
I'm
hold
sorry.
that?
I have a different one.
I don't want to ruin your moment. I just don't want you to like waste it and then be like, oh, what? Yeah.
I did a cool thing.
I don't-
Pretty.
Right.
There we go.
You gonna hold that out for
Yeah.
later?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, hold it out. Just in case he enters, you can always like hold your
Running
action
action.
for if he enters within 15 feet of you, you color spray him.
What is that? I can't read that. That
Can I hear him?
Actually, do.
Yeah, you can hear this low voice. And
Yeah,
actually,
that
I'm
doesn't
sorry,
do
you don't
anything.
actually understand him. So he's just like kind of chittering at you. You're the only one who can understand what he's saying. It is speaking Goblin currently.
He said something about his big peepee and hurting people.
No, I mean we did.
All I
do
found
that.
was some meat, and I hold up.
To attack the Great Gigi's people?
They stole from us, and they also wanted to eat my friend.
That's right to Gigi land.
I don't see any signs.
How's your name on it?
Do you have a flag?
What's the sound?
It's something that says your name. Says I live here.
Everyone knows Gigi lives here.
I didn't.
Gigi most famous Gremlin ever.
Nobody knows you.
Gigi is a genius.
That's what you think.
I'm the greatest genius ever.
That's a lie.
He's just kind of like sitting there with his little coat on over
No.
his
This is
head.
gonna go on for like 40 minutes.
And I'm 40 feet up the wall.
I just see like Stitch's conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Are you maneuvering yourself so you can actually talk to him?
Yeah, I'm just making. I'm.
Slowly move towards.
Oh wait, he
the
fucking.
cave.
Yeah, he ran up the wall.
By the way, as a giant wolf spider, I have a wolf ears, and a wolf tail.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Spider with a tail is somehow more
So
terrifying.
is your tail just hanging down as you're like calling up?
No, it is clearly tucked between his legs.
Oh, yeah.
Ears are
Over
down.
his spindle spook.
It's like a skunk. I have to lift my tail up. And then,
Okay, I'm gonna go to the opposite side of Rashid
Mm-hmm.
and just say, "You're an idiot," and then bite off another finger.
You see him bring his hand up in the little gloved hand, and he goes, and as he does, it closes around this like stiletto spear that stands about this long, and as he does, it just kind of like appears, and it seems to almost be made out of like a single seashell, like swirling all the way to the side, but it has like these holes in it, almost like blood grooves, so it's a twisted dagger, and he's like,
Gigi, question Gigi? In Gigi land?
Always.
he flips it around. As he does, it vanishes for a moment, and then it reappears in his hand, and he kind of like starts walking backwards,
Gigi remember you.
and he begins to step backwards
Oh, you remember.
into the darkness.
He wouldn't be able to see that. He just sees my hand go out underneath the cloth.
What you doing?
40 feet up.
Okay.
40 feet towards the way to exit.
That where they're coming?
And I will continue doing that until I see one of my fellow Uari, in which one I will go beeline straight to her.
Nothing like a giant spider
Yeah.
climbing down the wall.
I'll scream.
Or
Not
staff push you back.
not just a giant spider
And
spider
a tail.
with fucking ears
Dog
down, fucking.
Have I ever seen that before? Okay. Well, I don't know if I've seen that wild shape
Yeah.
before.
And
No?
whatever a spider crying sounds like, I imagine most likely nightmare
Just
fuel.
scream.
No, I'm sorry. As he's coming down the wall, he hears. You've never seen that either.
I think the right answer is I attack the spider.
As you get closer and closer, you see her kind of like pushing back, and you're just like trying to like let him know like what's going on, and then. Yeah, go make your attack roll.
Okay.
Oh, that's so
I
sad.
just it's
I know. You don't know.
there's not a more honest response. Good.
Okay,
It's a
good.
5, 9.
13.
13, yeah.
Okay.
As you swing down, your little two paws block it, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. and that's when you kind of realize it stopped and then started to talk to you. You've seen him wild
Spider
before.
crying.
And then he starts doing like hand and arm signals, which spiders also don't do.
Eight.
Punch in the mic.
Eight
got, like,
eyes crying.
4 actual dog paws. Nothing.
Poke it right above him. Poke it
His
right
spider
above the
legs and doll
pedipalps.
paws on the end.
I'm trying to head press on you.
I'm trying
Oh.
to do that.
I just want to put my hand
No.
against you.
No, get
no,
off me.
no.
Make me feel safe.
No!
I just want to hug.
That's all anything evil wants.
Okay.
Followed by death.
This whole person work on that? Okay. I will cast Chill Touch on him.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, he doesn't seem to. She doesn't seem to
I
like it.
don't know
so-
what it is.
Yeah. So is that an attack roll? I haven't
Yes.
cast spell in so long.
I know I'm me,
Yeah. Well, that is
Congrats?
so it makes sense that everyone's
Just kicking a poor little puppy.
I know. Oh, it's a 5 too. Wait, plus. So that's like a
So 13?
no,
11.
11. 11.
Okay.
13.
Yeah. So as the secondary streak, you just see like the second attack.
I don't know. Like,
I'm gonna look at you too. With the feeling of utmost betrayal.
I'm sorry.
That's
Chill.
fine. You're
At
a
least you never
giant
tried to
fucking
attack
spider
you.
and you should
And
remember
then
that.
I'm going to dash up the wall around them and just out.
Aw.
Run out of the cave.
And I'll dash as many times as I can.
I'm going to be very confused for a minute.
They really scared it away.
I don't think that's how that works. And I'm going to continue further on into the cave.
Yeah, I'll follow.
What are you guys doing?
Constitution +2.
In the lead.
I'm going to keep dragging my prize and just keep a lookout for Gigi the madman.
Okay. You guys begin heading out. You begin to pass some of those holes.
And I'm going to say, cucumber.
What is your armor class?
Not high.
Not high, he says.
15.
15.
That's not bad.
Well, luckily for you, only one of those hit.
It's
So,
better than mine.
as you guys begin to crest the holes, you notice on him 2 of the little stalkers that were in the previous room with you. They break invisibility to stab him. One of them goes wide because he's like panicked. He's been just sitting there fucking freaking out the whole time. Misses wide. The other one sinks his little stone dagger right into your side, and then they use their bonus actions to climb up into the holes and skitter down in the holes out. So you take 4 points of piercing damage as they run.
No, I'm stuck at right now.
That's what
I'm
they
okay.
do. And you can still hear something further in, like moving up the tunnel, chasing you. Which I think is a good point to stop because it's 57. So that is going to be the end of today's journey as you are being slowly stalked out of the tunnels. That's going to be it for us today. We're going to go down for a brief second, come back up to do our usual talkback, let people bounce out if they need to. Huso, thanks so much for the 200 biddies, buddy. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're enjoying the game so far. We will be right back, actually. So I'm going to slide this out of the way. So I don't hit
Honestly,
it.
thank you. Death saving throw.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for the death saving throw there, Huso.
Ooh, I got an email.
You got what?
Stop.
Is that an email?
No, it's the ad that plays when I open our Twitch chat.
Hello.
Oh, hi everybody, we're back now.
Hail.
Let me go ahead and slide into frame here. Hey, what is going on, everybody? I'm Soul Rose. These are my friends. Welcome back. So at the end of every session, we do a talk back where we talk about anything, mostly tabletop related, but anything you want to talk about. You want to ask questions about this game. You want to ask questions about any games we've played, any one shots or anything like that. Any characters, just let us know. Throw it in chat. We can see it. We can hear it. So yeah, throw it in there. Mr. Yuso, thanks so much for the 200 biddies.
Yes, thank you.
Shout out again, man. The save to save Rashid, and he got up way faster than we anticipated. So then I say we anticipated. I didn't really anticipate anything. So I just rolled it. What do you guys think of the Gremlins?
I felt like they were too powerful.
Do you?
Yep.
Think so?
I thought that, well, the combination of +7 to hit on when there's
Yeah, that is
4 of
right.
them, and in addition the ability to just turn invisible felt really unfair to me. Especially since we weren't all there. Like, I'm just saying.
I didn't make you split up.
No, but it happens so often with this group. It's just one of those things.
Is that weird and
What
freaky?
happens? What's this?
No, it's just wet.
Looks like
Split a lot,
a bebop.
which is
Yeah.
going to happen with most groups.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
I see it with any other groups that play as well.
It's
But
Rocksteady,
most
that's
often
what it is.
we have 2
Rocksteady.
objectives.
Yeah.
Too broken.
Uh-oh.
Not too broken, just a little too powerful.
I think it's good. I was actually surprised. I thought they were going to do way more. They have so many neat little abilities that make them unique, but they don't have a lot of other things. They don't have a lot of damage output. The ones that were hitting, or the ones that had +7, were the stalkers, the slightly better ones, the ones that can go invisible. Not all of them can go invisible, just certain ones. But they all have unique abilities that only pertain to them.
Also, I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but when he cast sleep, did it hit any of them?
No, they won't
Okay.
have that. Any monster
Well, wait,
that you
no,
guys
I
are
mean, were
going
they in the
Yes.
realm of the area?
Yeah,
Because that's crazy. Because like 2 of them took 18 and 14 points, and I've got the highest health in the group right now with 36 hit points. So the fact that they have higher than I do,
they do have hard, but
again,
because
I
you
think
guys
that
deal
stacks on top of that.
you deal too much damage. All
Do
of
you
you.
like the AC on stuff?
Sure. Okay. With any player character, you just hit.
Well, my AC is 13. I would have been hit hard by every single attack that was rolled today.
But would you? They only hit for a D4. Every single one of them.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Oh,
They didn't hit
Plus
any
7.
harder.
Oh, you
it
mean
was
the
+7 to
damage.
attack.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You guys hit way harder. So their 1D4 plus
Okay,
1
Cool.
makes them.
So that makes a lot of sense. I didn't notice that
They-
because I wasn't there to get
the
hit.
only big hit was the critical against me, and pretty much all that was mitigated down to 6 points.
I think that was the one I heard. So I was just like, holy
Oh,
shit,
yeah,
they
the
do that
+7.
much damage. Yeah.
No.
Well, no, the +7 was to attack. That
Yeah.
was
He
just
also
the
had
+7.
a
It wasn't
magic
to
weapon
damage.
that did, I think, 1d4.
The club?
Yeah.
3D4. 1D4 bludgeoning, 2D4 fire.
Oh,
But you have
fire.
resistance to fire. And I think you do too anyway. When you go into rage, you'll have.
Oh, would I?
If you're bear form, yes.
I'm not there. I'm
Then no.
eagle.
Then never mind. But you'll have half damage for any melee. No.
I'm disadvantage on opportunity.
Ooh. Alright, that was slapping.
That's the whole point. Is engage. Is the reasoning I used is she's more want to run in, grab the children, and leave than she is to fight. So the resistance to damage isn't something she's worried about. It's the maneuverability, get out,
Grab and go.
and that's why with a nice dash on top of it, and then disadvantage on opportunity attacks means you're more likely to deal with this. That's the reason I chose it. And I've never seen people take eagle on the first tier of barbarian. Never takes bear because obviously why wouldn't you?
Way damage.
Wait.
You meant Gigi.
Your enemy now.
Yeah, I like the. I went through and I was looking at some other old editions and I gave them their ability. Though surprisingly enough, in the old editions, due to the way that they balance the old editions, that if you try to directly update them to 5th edition, they're considerably weaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way.
Well,
weaker.
that's like old magic cards, man.
By comparison, you're
Yeah.
like, oh well.
Like, well, this costs 13 to play and it's a 4/4.
Yeah.
That's why he's like, well, I have this 9/10 that costs 5 to play.
We should play Yu-Gi-Oh later.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I like the Gremlins. They were fun. They were a fun little thing to mess around with because I was looking through all the old books trying to find something that would be worth it to play with.
I like that I didn't explain like half the things we talked about.
What?
I just realized that I didn't relay that to anybody else in the group.
I like it.
So I had to go have a conversation.
Also, Zongek's pretty
Yeah.
stupid.
Does anybody have questions?
Also,
Yeah.
Yana has no idea if the paper is integral to you guys getting back or not.
Oh, so you're
Because
like,
you've
maybe.
never described or explained that to me. You're like, I need to make this. I'm like, shit, let's get you out of here.
Get the fuck out of my
Make
house.
this paper.
I will 100% do this then.
I mean,
Yes.
as far as she knows, it's part of the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, of course we'll split. Of course I'll help you get this done so that we're done with this and get this out.
So yeah,
I
two. Yeah.
Zongak's having a fun adventure.
feel
Adventure.
so bad about Luca. He's so upset.
He was upset the moment we started leaving.
How do you feel about Capriati's?
I'm good, dude. I had
10:30.
Burger King.
They close at 11. It's around the corner.
You can get Capriati's. I don't need it. I'm already a fat. I make so much food. I got a chicken thigh at home, and I've got meatloaf, and I have
That'll do.
bratwursts that aren't even cooked yet, and I have baked potatoes.
Oh, the
I'm
potatoes
sorry,
were
not
actually-
baked potatoes. Smoked potatoes.
Oh,
Yeah, the smoked
nice.
potatoes were actually really, really good.
Yeah.
I want to eat them. They sound good.
Yeah, if you have any
Applewood
questions, go ahead and
smoked
throw them in chat.
potatoes. Yeah,
Anything
please.
you guys have?
More than
Anything you want to talk about?
about.
You have any questions for us? Feel free to throw them in there. So the gremlin's not too strong, huh? Mm.
Well, no, just that 2 attack. Every time I heard you say an attack roll, it was over 20. And I understand that it was a reckless attack and everything like that, but every single time I was like, Jesus Christ,
That was
that's
wrong.
hitting.
Really well.
Invisibility.
I didn't roll really well at all until that moment.
Well, and the other thing is, I'm a barbarian too, so if I go into that fight, most of the time it'd be reckless, which means every attack against me is a 20. My AC's 13. Like, so it seems
Still have
unavoidable
one,
that I know that, but it seems unavoidable that I wouldn't even get hit by an unlucky roll from what it sounded like.
But I mean, at least like if you get hit, the damage isn't gonna be that bad.
I know, but it doesn't need to be that bad if you get hit every round,
Oh yeah.
because I can still
Just like
miss.
take you away.
Yeah.
But what are you at for health?
I'm at 20.
Like, you got healed a little bit, right?
35.
So you guys have like,
Lowest I got down to
what's
was.
your your AC 17, right?
I have really good. My strength is 19, Dex is 16, and Constitution is 17.
The only
Strength
thing,
is my highest score, and it's a 15.
the only thing about
Yeah, I am a juggernaut for a barbarian. My wisdom's not bad. It's 10,
My wisdom's 0. It's 11.
but all my
Yeah,
My
well,
intelligence is 8. Huh?
They don't hit very hard, but they have a lot of fun abilities. They're pretty versatile in the list of things they can do. Maybe when we're done with them, I'll
You want to talk
regale
about
you with some
why
of my
you
shenanigans.
did some 4th edition stuff?
Man, it's way more fun. 4th edition has way more fun.
Why?
Enemies in 5th edition, especially since we've been playing for a year and a half, 2 years or whatever, like, enemies in 5th edition have been so crippled, just like fucking home ganged, to make the players feel like ridiculously more powerful. But when you do that, the enemies no longer seem like a threat. You know? Like, when you have all these monsters, but in 4th edition, the game was so balanced on a knife's edge that if you picked a monster that was a deadly fight for a party, it was a deadly fight for a party. It wasn't like, oh, well, you rolled really well, so this monster's dead in 3 rounds. It's like, this monster's a threat. For instance, like dragons. Every dragon had a unique ability that was unique to its dragon type. All dragons, if they were like big ancient dragons, they had abilities that allowed them to interrupt combat in the middle and just fucking breath weapon the party. Like if they get dropped,
Sucks.
if they get dropped to half
Don't
health,
do that to
the
us.
minute they get dropped to like, what is it? They called it bloodied, which is like
Yeah,
under
like-
half health.
It's about 2/3 down.
So yeah, like 2/3 down, they interrupt combat and they immediately fucking breath weapon anybody they can.
See, you say that, but every time I fought a big thing in 5th edition, I felt annoyed and pissed off by its abilities. Like when we fought the big dragons and things like that, it constantly felt like everything we were doing was just being erased every single time. We weren't able to make any headway on things.
It's crazy. I've never felt that way in games,
I
especially
felt
from
that way all
DMing
the
and
time.
playing. I've never felt it. I've always just sat there and been like, all right, because even like a lot of the things they talk about, like slogs, where you're just in a hit point. You know, oh, I punch him. Oh, I punch him again. Oh, I punch him this round. Oh, I punch him again. And if that's what every enemy does, how is that engaging in any way? You know, like it's not. In a lot of them, like there are like goblins. Goblins in the old version have this ability where if they hit somebody, they can step 5 feet to the left or right. That's it, right? And it's just an interesting thing that they can do. And now in the old version, they have like flanking, and if I'm behind you, I get bonuses or whatever. This new one doesn't, but that's still a neat little ability. You know, they move 25.
Yeah.
Shank somebody, move 5 feet. That's it. Fucking cool. Like, why not? It allows, if they're a horde trying to get through a tunnel or something, it makes sense that they can maneuver themselves in such a way. It gives them, like, this unique thing. But if they're just running around swinging, you're going to run through and you're going to swing back, and it's just going to be, I attack, they attack, I attack, they attack. In 4th edition, there was a lot of, like, special abilities. You as a fighter were not resigned to just swinging. You had abilities like fucking power cleave, where you can hit 2 enemies side by side. Just because. You have Earthquake as a fighter, where you can literally just fucking like slam the ground and fucking hit everybody in like 30 feet, right? Like all enemies of your choice. But in the new edition, they tried to like tone it differently, right? And so now in the new edition, if you're a spellcaster, your growth is quadratic.
I feel like what they did in 5th edition is they trimmed a lot of it to make it more approachable for newer players.
Yeah, but if you play those things, you're not rewarded for playing those things.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that they made it so that there's not 18 different things you need to know about this movement style in addition to everything else about the class.
Yeah, I agree.
But it also
It's
has,
kind of like trying to pick up Battlemaster and going, wait, I can do. Well, okay, hold on. I need a note card or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know though, because again, in the game, every enemy,
Yeah.
like if you think about it, a hobgoblin is no different than a goblin, is no different than an orc, is no different than an ogre, is no different than a giant. They all have the same shit. They swing, And the cool thing in 5th edition is spellcasting.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not monster-specific spells. This monster gets only spells you can
Chill
get.
touch. Yes.
So you're just sitting there going, okay, well this fucking Oni demon has chill touch that hits for 3d8, but his fucking regular weapon attack can hit for like 8d8. So why the fuck would he want to ever, just to tickle the spellcaster in the group, right? And to me, it's boring in a lot of ways. I feel like not only that, but it's because it's like. And then if you go outside of that, again, it's like weird. Monsters should have things that make them feel. This is a world that your character lives in that, these things that we talk about in real life that would be fucking terrifying exist. They're just there. And it's like, but they don't feel that, A goblin comes up from the ground and stabs somebody. Like, all right, cool, Like an orc comes in, you stab somebody. Like, okay. The difference is the goblin's going to have to drag somebody and the orc can pick them up.
I guess to me, it's always been the storytelling aspect and the narration of it is more interesting than the actual fighting mechanics, and that's always been fine for me because I don't really give a shit about the fighting mechanics. The minus 5 hit points, minus 8 hit points, minus 12 hit points, minus 3 hit points, minus 24 hit points, minus 22 hit, and that back and forth doesn't bother me because to me it's that quick exchange currency, and it's how it gets narrated that's interesting to me. I don't really care about the numbers exchange personally.
I agree. I just think that as players, you guys need interesting things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not interesting if we were doing, I give you the one ring from Lord of the Rings and just let you roll around stabbing everybody. Is that entertaining in any way? Like, no, you're invisible the whole time. You run around and stab everybody. Oh, they can't see you. They can't make attacks. If they make attacks of opportunity, it's a disadvantage because you're invisible. When you're running around, you're invisible. Like, that's boring. That's stupid. Like, well, why do I put a challenge in front of you to not do anything with? The enemies need to feel like a threat. They need to have something that makes them feel unique. And if you see a goblin, and you see a goblin later, they need to be different. They need to have different things. They need to feel different because otherwise it's not thematic, right? How do I get a group of gremlins into a town? I start them off as invisible because that's what you've seen them go invisible.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get a group of goblins into the town? Without giving them magic items, they have to run it, right? Now, how do I set up like an interesting, so-and-so sneaking so-and-so in or whatever. Like, you need to be able to, for the narrative, even for the narrative, those abilities come in handy. And in my opinion, I think it's fascinating because then when you fight a goblin this time, or a gremlin, in this scenario, you fought 2 different types that had 2 different abilities. Well, now if I introduce a third one, off the rip that they have a different ability set. That can't go invisible, but it can do this, And you'll learn that, and that makes it interesting to identify, oh, shit, okay, I get it. This motherfucker's doing this, this motherfucker's doing that. I think that's way more interesting to me. It makes it a dynamic battle. It makes combat more interesting than just an exchange of numbers where you get like this. If there's an intrigue there, you're like, well, okay. Because if you're in combat and an enemy starts healing his teammates, you need to fuck that guy up like ASAP. Like, that guy needs to go away, right? And then it's not just like a numbers exchange. You're going to get to see some fun stuff, which is why, like, I don't give my villains, all of my NPCs, I've removed player classes from. Now they just have abilities that they can do. They have, like, powers, basically, from the old edition. Or they have something like, Noah used to be a sorcerer, or a wizard. Gone. He has spellcasting, but he gets none of the bonuses of being a wizard, because she's a wizard. That's her. Let her be a wizard. He doesn't need those abilities. He doesn't need those special bonuses like, oh, it takes me half time to write things down.
Yeah.
I have arcane recovery. Like, no, let him be a character so that way you can feel special as that. There are no barbarians. There's not going to be any enemy that runs around going, unless he has a natural resistance, he doesn't just half all damage. Because I don't think that's fair to do to fucking Darren. I don't want Zongek to run around and go, oh, every third enemy we face halves all damage. What am I doing then? You know, that's my thing, you know? And then you have Theta. Theta's a rogue. Yeah, they're going to be enemies with stealth ability, but like these guys don't have sneak attack. They have an ability that lets them get a little bonus damage if they do the right shit, but it's not sneak attack. At level 20, one of these guys will still deal the same amount of damage, and Theta will deal 10d6, right? Because that's what you do, that's not what they do. And I like that. I like keeping the players with what they have and making that unique, and then giving the enemy something unique, so they don't feel shitty. Like, oh, well, okay, well, he has, you know, this final villain is a rogue. He's going to disengage every time you try to attack him, and he's going to run away, and he's got mobile, so now he doesn't provoke opportunity attacks no matter what. Like, that's what you should be able to do. It's not what the fuck he should be able to do, right? Because if he does, you're going to go, oh, shit, he's an assassin. All right. I know what an assassin does. I've played the fucking game. Here's all of his abilities, you know? And then you could plan for that or whatever. If I'm like, oh, and he fucking warps around the battlefield or some shit, at least it's interesting, and then you can figure it out as you go and go, oh, this is something we can, oh, I have these things, so I can do these things to counter it. I don't know. I think it's interesting to me.
No, that's a really good point. I'm glad you talked about it. I really am. It's a different perspective than I have of the entire game.
I think it makes you
I think plus you were trying to work more from the enemy's perspective this time. Like, treat them like they were actual characters instead of like, oh, I'll move this guy and move this guy. Like,
I've been trying to get better at not injecting myself into combat, you know?
Yeah.
If enemies are dumb, they run up and swing. If they're coordinated, they fight differently. I try to keep it that way, like...
Well, that and like their motivations and stuff, like,
right.
oh, this enemy would do this because of this and stuff, instead of just like...
Would they curb stomp this person?
Right.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they just want to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, like...
Whereas before...
in that combat, they didn't target Rashid when he was down. But they had no direction either, you know? Chances are their combat strategy is going to change when you get their the gremlin boss, Gigi, involved. Chances are that one's going to be calling the shots and they're going to be doing what it wants, you know? Like, that changes the dynamic. So suddenly you've seen them run around pretty focused on trying to eat the little tapir. You know, they managed to get Rashid only because he was already at low health, and they were like, oh, cool, let's go eat it, you know? And then they were even arguing over him, you know? Whatever. Meanwhile, there's still a fight going on, and they're just like, no, let's eat him now, you know? Like, oh, we'll get him. And that'll obviously change when you have somebody like, no, motherfucker, like you over there. He's gonna be like, oh, I want to go eat this fucking thing. So it changes the dynamic of the battle. Plus, because I'm trying to use everything I can as barometers for the future, because I have ideas to have tactical battles that are actually important in the storyline. So yeah, it's all different. I want to keep it fresh. When you go into combat one time, it should be different than the other time, you know. And obviously there is going to be, you know, slogfest where you fucking throw down and you just meat mash at each other as fast as you can. But other times it should be interesting to be like, oh, well, he's trying to run, he's trying to stay, this one's trying to trap this person, this one's trying to do this. Yeah, I think that keeps it fresh. So that way combat's not just, 2 combats per session, that we need the XP to level up, you know. I don't know. My take on it. I've been trying to do intelligent enemies recently. But you got bit by a phase spider.
I did. I noticed the moment you described the coloring, I'm like, I know what that is.
Shit.
That was totally random.
Yeah.
I rolled it, and I rolled I have my table, and I rolled in my table, and it was like phase spider, and I was like, oh, it bites you and runs away.
Well, if it stayed, I was going to try and kill it and see if it had any eggs.
I think that's perfect, though.
Oh, right,
the
right.
environment.
Ooh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, it's just like a nightmare. I thought that's what it was. I didn't know it was like a
Yeah,
face
I thought it just drifted away into
Yeah.
smoke. Like it was like in my head,
Oh, no.
and then runs.
Like, I'm a bad dream.
I was going to
Yeah.
snatch up a egg sack, hide in my bag.
Take those. That'd be really awkward to try to tame when they just keep vanishing, and you're like, fuck.
Get
fuck.
back here.
No, fuck.
Just put a leash on one,
Hey, stop it.
and then the leash just goes.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to go to the enchanters and be like, I need a multi-dimensional leash.
You can keep on. Get at it.
What?
Well, how would Zongak explain that, though? I need a leash. That
This
keeps them
keeps
from going
this
other
appear-
places.
That I need to stop that from
I
happening.
have
I'll
one
have
of
to
these
find it.
gone.
Would he just think they're going invisible? Like, he would think that they're just, like, running away, right? Like, he wouldn't
He would
like,
just
Well,
If
they
he thought
tried.
he'd probably have a fucking aneurysm and bleed out.
Probably have
You
Well,
Right,
it probably vanished and he goes, oh, it melted in the sunlight.
Yeah.
It's a
Damn.
snowflake.
Nope, I used my magic again.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
there it is.
Shucky
What-
darn.
So what kind of Shucky darn? What kind of magic does Zonk think he could do?
Well, he made that one guy drop by touching him.
Yep.
And also, his weapon ignites every time he
But what does
sneezes.
he think he's doing? Like these people drop and then like
See,
He's
I
seen
want to
magic
direct
before.
you to the operative word in that sentence, which is
think. Yeah.
fake.
Oh, he's just like, oh, I do
Magic. All encompassing.
So he doesn't think he
I
can
don't know what
control
I'm doing.
but
so
it
must
seems to be
magic.
working.
Yeah.
But I like it.
it.
Because the rage thing, he's seen the fire thing before. But that was the only one that he's seen is the big boss, which you guys saw the illusion of.
Right. I could never teach them things, right? Like
Not
I
unless
could
they
teach.
cross class.
Houston lost internet.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, so he missed like that. Oh, I'll see in the bot.
It's alright. Yeah, I see it later, buddy.
Like you could say that you're teaching us, and if we decide to take magic initiate
Or level the wizard.
or level into wizard, yeah.
Could you? You could take levels in the could you?
No. Yeah, it has to be your
Your intelligence.
intelligence has to be 13
Yeah.
Or higher.
or higher. Which Zongax, I would be level
25.
12
Uh
to get it to 13.
huh. But you have to dump all of it in there, right?
Yeah.
That sucks. That's not cool.
One step.
Yeah.
He could cross class into wizard, right? Raw. Even though he's played it like a billion times.
Maybe
Well,
they can.
Raw already has,
He's got a lot of. He's got spell stuff, but I mean, like.
Yana can.
Yeah.
8.
but his spells are also based off of
It's
Intelligence.
standard array with a couple of little pluses. It's shit.
Great.
15, 12, 14, 8, 11, 15.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're good. I like it. Solid.
Zongax 19, 16, 17, 7, 10.
Solid numbers. Solid numbers, Martin.
Well, it's because remember when I rolled it, I showed you the paper of all the rolls, and you're like, ooh, and I'm like, I'm doing this one, and you're like, why? I'm like,
So many good
Are those the
numbers.
ones we rolled in?
14,
front of everybody?
18, 16,
Okay.
16, 13, 10.
It is good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is solid.
In the next one, we're gonna roll one.
He's a 16 intelligence.
What are we doing?
For the future campaign, we're gonna roll 6 times in order and then switch.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can switch one set.
Yeah,
One stat.
that's fun. I think.
so I might need to buy one of those.
Schnaut? Why? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we good.
What?
Buy a little Schnaut thingy. You want one too?
I kind
But
of
for like Zonga? Oh.
Yeah. Do it.
Just don't paint it with that
No, for
fucking paint.
Zongak, I'd need a witch's nose that's elongated about
Yeah.
to here.
Or just like you know those.
Because I picture every time he does that, it's like the fucking doorstop.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those underwear that guys put on, like the elephant trunk ones, and like you do that and just stuff it.
Not the same, because it's supposed to come to a point.
Well, won't
Yeah.
it come to a point if you like stuff it?
No,
What's that? I don't know.
I'd have to cut it open, stitch it to almost like a triangle.
Yeah, at that point, you're better off just buying a cheap witch mask and cutting
Yeah.
those off and then gluing it to your face.
Yeah, why not?
I might have spirit gum somewhere.
As you do.
I actually thought about for Halloween if we were off
Oh, yeah, let's
to
do it.
dress like Zongak.
You know what I'm
But
doing
I-
for
I
Halloween
would
this
need
year? I just
body
gotta build
paint.
it.
And a lot of leather.
Need a paper hat.
I had planned.
Just get,
Well,
just put the
I don't
ears in,
know what it
you know,
is.
and then a little nose underneath.
It's a Tuesday. No, it's not.
You lied.
Sorry,
Why
it's-
did you
it's
just
a Wednesday.
scream it?
Because I got excited.
We
it's a
can still do it on
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
I know, but it would have been so fun.
We look so fucking retarded. You know, Tuesday night going on, and we're all like looking silly.
Well, we were like that on Halloween.
Wednesday, like people are like walking around, they're like, "That's tomorrow, freaks." Yeah, whatever.
We'll be in the house.
Fuck you, I worked that day.
Right? Yeah, right. Oh man. Good times though. Fun.
Yeah.
I read like a bitch, so no.
No, he's
Not running.
he's doing tactical stuff.
He's doing tactical stuff. Even he is.
He has a turtleneck and everything.
He's watching you while you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. It's bad.
They better break his neck.
My.
Let's go break their spines. Like, oh my. All right, I think that's it for us. I think we're
What's
out.
that line? It's from that movie. They're throwing bottles at your house.
It's actually from a song. Fucking.
It's from a movie.
Is it? I know it's in a song. It's like REM or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna blow a hole this wide. Is there a hole? Whatever.
Yeah, it is
They're
in the
throwing
song. And
bottles.
Let's go break their arms.
Let's go break their arms. Yeah,
That's
my
what it
favorite
is.
fucking. I don't even like that song actually, but I like the fucking that opening. It's fantastic.
I looked it up forever ago, and I'm pretty sure it's from a part of a movie.
All right, everybody, we are going to take off. So if you've had fun, drop the whole follow, subscribe, all that nonsense.
also, if you subscribe, you get entered into our Discord.
You get entered into Discord and into the
Henry
giveaway.
Fool, 1997.
Oh, nice. To be fair, actually, everyone's in the giveaway as long as you follow and or subscribe.
Yes.
But as
Not
long as you're in
limited
chat
to
to win.
subscribers. You got to be in chat to win.
So if that's your thing, go ahead and let us know, man. Hit it up. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, everybody that was in the chat talking and everything. Rocco for the drive-by host. We'll see you in the VOD, buddy. And we are out. We'll see everybody on Discord for the next week. So, all right, let me disappear now. Oh my
Dude, this
goodness.
movie has some great quotes. Seriously, look it up. Henry Fool, 97 is amazing. I've been bad repeatedly.
Yeah.
An honest man is always in trouble. Remember that.